Robbie Williams Rewind.
Welcome to Robbie Williams Rewind. We are the champions. I'm Matt.
And I'm Lucy.
And along with help from special guest fans, we take you on an in-depth rewind through the solo career of multi-award-winning singer, songwriter and entertainer Robbie Williams.
Today we're talking about the B-sides that came off the singles from Robbie's third album, Sing When You're Winning, and his tours of 2000 to 2001. And we have our special friend Christina from Denmark with us today. Hello, Christina.
Hi, Christina.
Hello, champions.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Hope you're well too.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a cold, just to let everyone know that if I sound a bit different, that's why.
Yeah.
Other than that, all good.
And Christina, it's so lovely to have you on the podcast. We were saying...
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we were saying just before that we've stood together at quite a few gigs, and it's always lovely to see you and experience the gigs with you. And so it's really nice to be able to do this with you as well.
Thank you. The feeling is mutual, genuinely. And I remember Dublin. At least we were together there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Krakow, I think, as well.
Yeah.
So tell us, when and how did you become a Robbie fan?
Well, that happened at an exact moment. It was in July, the 23rd of July in 2013 in Copenhagen.
Oh.
Right.
At my first Robbie Williams gig. Halfway through Let Me Entertain You. I only knew one of his songs when I went to the gig.
Oh, why did you go to the gig if you didn't really know him?
Well, that's a good question. I had been looking at my calendar during the winter, and I didn't have any concerts booked. I think I had one. So I just went through the Danish ticket sites to find anything interesting. I didn't know anything about Robbie Williams, apart from one of his songs, and I sad to say that I had him rated as a general pop star who used to be in a boy band, and that's not generally my kind of music, so
yeah.
Hey. But then something funny happened, because the second I saw the advert from his Take the Crown concert in Copenhagen, I had this conversation between two voices in my head going on, one saying, I'm going to see Robbie Williams, and the other went, but why? Doesn't make sense. But I knew that the first voice would win, and it did. So I got 2 tickets and invited a friend of mine who knew more about Robbie without being a fan, but I knew she would appreciate it. So if I didn't like it, she would kind of add some good vibes.
Yeah.
And we went to the gig, and as I said, halfway through Let Me Entertain You, I thought, what's this? And I was just completely sold. And on my way home, my biggest issue with myself was wondering how I would feel adding at least a couple of Robbie Williams CDs to my collection of Iron Maiden and Queen and AC/DC and whatever I have.
Yeah.
And one album and one more, and I explored his music on RobbieWilliams.com to figure out which album I wanted. And when I had all of them except from 3, I just kind of gave up and thought, okay, I'm here.
And you haven't left?
No. So very, very, very strange in a funny way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But lovely as well, that you just saw him and thought, oh, hang on a minute, this guy's great.
Yeah, and I mean, I felt so bad afterwards because of how I've viewed him until that. Just,
yeah.
I mean, he's so much more, and his music is so much more than what I've ever thought. So yeah.
So in a way, Robbie kind of grew in you, or grew on you, as we say.
Yeah. I mean, it took so much time when I realized how much music he'd done already that I actually found interesting. So I just started from scratch and had to learn everything he'd done until Take the Crown. Wanted to learn all about it and read and listened, and yeah.
Did you go back through the Take That back catalogue as well?
No.
Not even the songs that Robbie sang?
That's my limit. I've tried. I admit I would have loved to see the Progress tour.
Yeah.
That would really have. I mean, I was just a little bit too late.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that. And when I hear, especially Rob's part of the Progress tour, that's quite emotional and amazing and everything. But apart from that, nah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm generally more into rock music. So
Right.
Rob alone, he's kind of, yeah.
He's won you over.
Yeah.
So how many times have you seen him now since that first time?
I just did a count on my list, 38 times.
Oh, wow. Cool,
Yeah.
you've done well.
Yeah, well, I have a lot of catching up to do. So that's my excuse every time I go all in on a tour or whatever in Las Vegas. So yeah.
Because you've nearly seen him as many times as me then, and I've been a fan since the beginning.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have a good excuse, I think, because I missed so many years, and obviously when I see some of the old gigs, I think, dang.
Yeah.
Would have loved to be there.
Yeah.
And even if you go to the same tour a few times, each gig is different. And I think sometimes people look at you strangely when you say that to a non-fan or to someone who isn't as fanatical as we are. And, you know, they're like, well, how can it be different? But it is, isn't it? There's something different about, even if you're stood in exactly the same place.
Exactly. Yeah, totally. And I admit that I had never thought of going to the same gig more than once on a tour with any other artist. Never. It just never occurred to my mind that you could do that.
Yeah.
And I mean, now we do it.
Yeah.
It's just normal.
It's absolutely normal.
I've always done it.
Yeah. I think you were the one that taught me how to do it, really.
Yeah, well, it was only Take the Crown where I only went to one gig from the swing tour, and on I went to more. But
Yeah.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, it is.
It's awesome.
And so you went to Vegas as well, didn't you, to see him?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, twice.
Yeah. Did you do a meet and greet as well?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I already won a meet and greet through Upfront.
Oh, did you? Where was that for?
Tour, yeah.
Oh, so you met him, had a proper meet and greet.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't sure if I was allowed to say it that way, but yeah. In Kaunas.
Where's that?
In Lithuania.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. What was that like?
And it was great. It was one of the gigs on the tour I hadn't planned to go on. I knew I could do it if I won the meet and greet, but I'd just been to the 2 opening nights in Spain. I got home Saturday night, just unpacked, opened my email,
Right.
and found out I'd won a meet and greet for the next weekend.
Oh, wow.
In Lithuania. So that was awesome. I went with another Danish girl for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was he like? What did you talk about?
Oh, he was super nice. And I mean, we had Upfront and he had joined the chat room several times. So it was nice that way because he knew who we were. And I mean, there was only 4 people, 4 guests, 2 winners, and our plus ones.
Yeah.
So it was very calm, if you can say it that way, but yeah, more relaxed than some of the big meet and greets you hear about.
So you had a nice chat.
And really appreciated that way.
Oh,
sounds good.
And he brought Spencer.
Oh, wow.
Remember Spencer?
Yeah, lovely Spencer.
A lovely dog, yeah.
Spencer the dog, yeah.
So, yeah. It was great. It really was.
So then you met him again in Vegas.
Yeah, I did.
Did he remember you from before?
Yeah, yes. Also because at that time he was very active and upfront.
Yeah.
Well, the dress rehearsal was something special as well.
Yeah. It was.
Remember me from that gig as well. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, were you the one that went on stage for the dress rehearsal?
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
Yes.
I forgot that. The lucky chosen one who you wore the mask before anyone else.
Yeah.
For
that
something
was so
stupid.
Funny. Really. So yeah, he remembered me when I met him in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And again, I did more than one gig in Las Vegas. Because, I mean, it's one thing on a normal tour, but you don't go to Las Vegas from Europe and only do one gig.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense to me anyway.
Well, to
I
me
know
as well.
other people do it, but I made a proper holiday out of it, and I went to several gigs.
Yeah. Oh,
in Las
amazing.
Vegas. Yeah.
So have you got a favourite song or album?
No.
No?
I simply can't. I mean, I tried. I give up on a favorite album right away. That I can't do. And I tried to figure out, okay, can I do a top 5 song-wise? And I didn't. I mean, I have a top 20.
Yeah, it's a bit like me.
Yeah. And then still one of my best friends, Mina, who you might know.
Minna the Machine.
She worded it exceptionally well, saying, look, if you chose an album, a song, or even 5 songs, it's like betraying all the other great songs and albums.
That's a good point.
That's exactly how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's difficult. Album and song-wise, I can't.
You can't. Okay.
Again, I have a top 20 with songs. But they are all number one, so I can't. Yeah, well, and there's not even an album where I can name just one song. That's the best. I mean, there'll be a handful at least. 3, 4, 5 on each album. So
you've had quite a few great moments with Robbie, but have you got a favourite memory or moment?
Well, I don't have a favorite moment like that, but I think that the times when being at the gigs, seeing Robbie fucking Williams on stage, talking to him on the chat and meeting Rob in real life, when those moments meld together and you realize it's one human being, one whole person, those moments are the times I appreciate the most. Yeah, I think. Just more than a specific experience.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Just the whole
So it's a whole
picture.
collection of memories and experiences that come together.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh. So what does Robbie mean to you?
Yeah, that's tricky.
Here's the question.
Well, he certainly holds a special place in my life, both as an artist and as a human being. Again, the shared experiences off and on stage, and being aware of the obvious distance there is, but it's still it's a rather unique situation, I think.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's an inspiration as a human being in many ways, and his music is. I connect more to myself through his music than I thought was possible. Yeah. Despite I've always connected to myself through music, but with his music, it's just exceptional. And his lyric skills are just.
Yeah.
I really admire his work with words, and he's bloody brave.
Yeah, true.
That is extremely true. Yes.
He really, really is. And in that way, he's an inspiration as well.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, as you know, being part of the community around him leads to a lot of experiences too, friendships and experiences, because in my case anyway, I ended up traveling a lot more than I would have done if it wasn't for his gigs. He means a lot.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that with us, Christina.
You're
That's
welcome.
lovely.
And have you got one question or anything that you'd like to say to him?
No, I mean, that would pop up on the spot,
Yeah.
Right.
I'm sure. But as you know, he's shared some of his unreleased music on Instagram, for example. And there's one of the songs especially that I really, really like. And I can't hear all of the lyrics. And I would really love to know the words.
Oh, which song's that?
Well, I don't know what it's what the title of it, in fact, but I know it as "By the Light."
Okay.
It's-
I can't think
It's
which
not
that
one
is.
of those he's played a lot of times.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I just really, really fancy it. So I would love to hear the words because he, as usual, he talks a bit over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes.
let's move on to talk about the B-sides of Sing When You're Winning, starting with Talk to Me. Written by Robbie and his guitarist at the time, Phil Eisler, it appeared as a B-side to Rock DJ alongside a remix of Rock DJ. CD2 was actually a DVD single with the full-length video and a short documentary feature. He said in Feel that he was fucking off my tits when I wrote this. There you go, very honest.
Yeah. So what do we think of Talk to Me?
I think it's an ace track.
Yeah.
I like that it's not polished in any way. It's easy to visualize this guy just with helplessness in his eyes and just
Yeah.
I love the line when he says, "I'm not dressed as to be a clown."
I like the chorus. Maybe you could talk to me and make my day.
Yeah,
You don't have to walk away to stay with me. Make me
Yeah.
change, answer me, break the chain. It's like he's
Yeah.
trying to get out of a rut of one night stands, isn't it?
Yeah.
and I think it's. I mean, how often do you hear a guy complaining about not enough talking being done?
Yeah.
That's not usually how it goes.
No, that's true.
True.
I like the sound in it. It's one of those examples of a song where we go, okay, not all just a pop boy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it starts quite slow, doesn't it?
Yeah,
And then builds into quite a rocky
yeah,
track, which I guess is maybe why you like it if you're into your rock music.
yeah.
Yeah.
Too.
And for me, it's not really a song that I've listened to much over the years. But as we always do in preparing for this episode, I listened to it a lot and it really grew on me.
Yeah.
And I like there's like an indie vibe to it, which, you know, obviously in this era of Robbie's music, it still had that kind of indie feel to it. A lot of his songs, and it's got that really strong electric guitar vibe there as well. And
It's great.
yeah, and there's something quite rich about the song. You know, I love the harmonies in it, and it starts with that nice gentle ballad, and then
Yeah,
you know, maybe you could talk and make my day, and it just starts picking up on all the instruments and the harmonies, and the vocals come in. You know, it's got that.
It's got kind of a sad, desperate feel, though, hasn't it?
definitely. Yes.
Yeah, it's quite sad.
Again, I see this
Okay.
helpless guy
Yeah.
in front of me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Because when you read Somebody Someday and he's talking about like the one night stands and
yeah,
what was it in Feel? I can't remember. But he keeps saying how they're not really making him happy.
exactly.
You know, the string of women may be good,
Yeah.
but it's not really achieving anything.
No, most of them are from Planet Fan.
Yeah. And then weirdly, he also says something at one point about how a lot of them were saying, "Oh, I want to be different. I want to be different from all the others," and so they don't sleep with him, and they just want to talk. And so that makes this song a bit weird because in this song he wants them to talk. So I don't know. There's a contradiction there.
No, that's all right.
Well, depends which voice you're listening to in your head, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it kind of reminds me of The Trouble with Me. I just found the lyrics and the part where it says that you see the trouble with you is you're in love with me. What a strange thing to do. And later it says, so when you say that you love me, that stops me loving you.
Yeah, it's a similar theme, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Another line that I really like in this song is news at 10, EastEnders, and a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Do you know of EastEnders?
I've never watched EastEnders. I have no clue about it.
I watch it.
It's a very long-running soap opera on BBC One in the UK.
Okay.
About the East End of London.
Yeah, well, I've heard it mentioned many times.
Yeah. I don't think it's travelled internationally, that show. I think it's a few people know about it, but it's very, very long-running soap. It was running when we were children, really, wasn't it? But what I find interesting about that line is that we all know that EastEnders is on before the news at 10.
Yeah, it's on at like 7:30.
Yeah. And it says news at 10, EastEnders and a cup of tea. And I think, obviously, it's written around that way for a purpose, but...
I was trying to remember whether back then, when this was written, whether there was a repeat on like BBC
a late night
3.
repeat or something.
Yeah.
Very possibly, actually. Yeah.
But also, Robbie was in EastEnders once. Did you know that?
Yeah, I remember that, actually, now you say it.
Yeah, he was in the background in the pub.
Was he in the pub in the Queen Vic?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's filmed at the same place as Top of the Pops, and he was there at Top of the Pops with Oasis, and then I think he just walked onto the EastEnders set, and they said, "Oh, be in the background." He was probably drunk, I imagine, in that era.
But still a funny moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Talk to Me.
Yeah.
It's interesting that it's written by Phil as well, because when you read, I think Somebody Someday, it talks about Phil having one-night stands as well. So clearly Phil and Robbie.
Phil Eisler,
had that in common, and that's where their song came from.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he has provided some great lyrics during the years, Phil Eisler.
So let's move on to John's Gay.
Okay.
Yeah. Written by Robbie and Guy, this was a B-side to Kids. In Feel, he tells writer Chris Heath that every word in this song is true. The schoolmate wasn't called John, though, and maybe he wasn't even gay, as Rob later noticed on Friends Reunited that he is now married. Rob told Chris it was about being young. Rob said, "It's trying to capture what we were talking about the other night, the sadness of how lovely it was to be there and how magical it all was, and how being grown-ups kind of a responsibility and very real. The lyric, 'Rain's never cold when you're young,' is very similar to a lyric in Strong, 'The rain was never cold when I was young.'"
Little fact there.
There you go.
I'd like to know with this song whether they really did write on a wall that
Yeah,
John
me too.
was gay.
Yeah.
I mean, he says everything is true in this song, but did they really write that on a wall? Obviously, they didn't write John's gay because it was a different name, but...
I think, unfortunately, back at that time, if I remember back, I know Rob's a couple of years older than I am, but at that time at school, unfortunately, that kind of thing was written on walls and graffiti like that was around quite a lot, unfortunately. So, very possibly.
Makes me feel a bit sad, though.
Yeah.
But as you say, I guess back in the 80s, I guess it was for him.
It wasn't talked about when we were. I don't know about you, Christina, but it wasn't talked about at school. It was kind of, unfortunately, made fun of a lot, and people were ridiculed for it rather than being able to talk about it.
Yeah.
And express themselves. Yeah, it was kind of difficult. Yeah, horrible actually.
Yeah.
Hopefully they didn't bully John for it. It sort of sounds a bit like that, but...
Well, at least it sounds like Janet stood up for him.
Yes. Good old Janet.
Yes.
I like the fact that it's Janet and John, because you probably won't know this, but in England, when we were young, you learnt to read at when you were 4 or 5. And they had Janet and John books.
With the Janet and John
The
books,
characters were called Janet and John.
And it would be little stories about what they were doing and
Yeah.
So it just
Well,
makes me
no,
think
I
of that.
didn't know that.
So there's the phrase people will say, "Oh, that's a bit Janet and John," you know, as in a bit simple or a bit basic because
Yeah.
it's the beginning to read books.
Yeah.
They don't have them anymore.
No.
We had those names too in the books when we learned to read.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
okay.
So just Danish names, of course. I mean, that BMX must have meant a lot to Rob because
Yeah.
it's in this song and it's in the 80s as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that bloke stole it, didn't he? I can't remember his name now. Is it Martin?
Yeah, no, he nicked the pedals of my BMX, yeah.
Oh, that's right.
That's it. Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think about this song then, Christina?
I really like it. I mean, that's another the energy in it, and it's not as raw as Talk to Me, but it's still it's not a pop song.
Yeah.
And the verses and the middle part is really cool. So it's a great song. As a
Yeah.
whole.
It's got another bit of a rock vibe to this, hasn't
Yeah.
it? And
Yeah,
kind of
and it's a bit easier going for me anyway than Talk to Me.
yeah.
It's
So there's a bit of energy in this, the way that
Yeah.
he sings, the way that he actually sings John's Gay.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of quite forceful, isn't it? The way
Yeah.
that he's almost shouting it, but he is singing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. and the music is it's solid but still full of energy, and I like that.
And there's another line, isn't there, that's quite like in the 80s, the song the 80s. I lost my virginity the year above us had
Yes.
discovered E, and I said it weren't for me, £12.50.
Exactly.
I think that's the line from the 80s, isn't it? Or I'll get confused. It's pretty much similar in both songs,
I
isn't
think
it?
it's similar.
Yeah, it is.
But I've got to own up, strangely, that's one of my misheard lyrics.
Oh,
And it sounds stupid in hindsight, but almost ridiculous actually. But when he says, "I lost my virginity the year above us had discovered E," I actually thought that he was saying they discovered me.
Oh,
And I thought, oh, that's Robbie saying, you know,
he slept with someone in the year above him.
especially as it was connected to losing his virginity. I thought, well, okay, they discovered him. But then and for some reason in my head, that was how it went. And I forgot about the E and I forgot about the £12.50 and what that actually meant. And then when I was listening to it the other day and looking at the lyrics, I was like, oh, okay, of course, it's about drugs. But it could equally be me as well.
I was just gonna say it could easily have been your version if it wasn't for the £12.
Yes.
I love the lyrics of his songs, though. These are, especially the B-sides and the earlier ones. We have a lot of fun, you know, with these misheard lyrics.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
So, shall we talk about Often?
Yeah.
So, this was written by Gary Nuttall, and this was the B-side to Kids. In Nobody Someday, you see Gary and Rob performing it in their dressing room on tour. Gary also recorded it himself for his Dated Bedroom Ditties album, released in 2007.
So I kind of didn't really know that Gary had written this until I was doing this research,
Well, I didn't.
because I just thought it sounded like Robbie lyrics to me.
Well,
you know,
I
it's
knew.
like something he would write. You knew. You
I
paid
knew because
attention.
I've actually had the pleasure of seeing Gary performing in the live.
Oh, wow. Tell
Ah,
us about that.
yeah.
Well, Gary and Tom was part of a guitar workshop in Zurich. I think it was 3 years ago. And I went there. And as part of that, Gary sang Often
Oh,
and introduced it as one of his songs that he was very, very proud of, especially because Rob released it.
yeah.
Oh, wow. What a special experience.
Yeah, it was. It was really, really cool. I actually used to play guitar myself, which was part of the reason why I went to the guitar workshop. Not
Yeah.
that I
Yes.
play anymore, but it's just, I mean, it makes sense to me.
You can still pick a guitar up and play some chords, though, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and I like guitar players in general. So I thought it was a great opportunity to hear a bit about Gary and Tom on their own.
Yeah. Did you get to actually speak to them kind of one-on-one?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it wasn't that big of an event, so there was plenty of time to talk to them. And talked about one of the other songs that Gary wrote as well, Get the Joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Katie from episode 2's favourite.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was cool hearing Gary singing it often himself. Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That gives me a bit of a special relationship to that song. So I enjoy that.
Cool. What a lovely memory that is. That's great. I really like the simplicity of this song.
Exactly.
The songwriting and the lyrics. And I think I would, it's dated Bedroom Ditties album, but I think I would describe it as a nice little ditty.
Yeah. Well, it's like got a country vibe to it, I think.
It does. Yeah, it's a little bit of a country music style to it, with that steel guitar and the sort of happy beat flowing along in the background.
Yeah. And then this thing about saying it's great when I know it isn't, it's just, we can all relate to that, I think.
Yeah.
I can anyway.
Yeah.
Big time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And weirdly, they're not really happy lyrics, because it's about doing things often, being aware that you're doing them and still doing them anyway. But then the musical arrangement behind it is quite a cheery, happy sort of vibe, isn't it? It's so, it's a nice contrast, I think.
It is. And I mean, it reminds us of one of the things that we keep saying to ourselves and everyone else, I think, during life, that the good things, you don't know about it until it's gone.
Yeah. Very true.
It's simple, but it's something that we realize again and again and again.
Yeah.
So it is a simple song, but it's
it makes you sort of feel happy though, doesn't it, when you hear it?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this song.
Yeah,
I always feel oh great, it's this one when it comes on, and you just can't help singing along to it. That's how I am. And I'm pleased that it made it onto In and Out of Consciousness.
Yeah.
Rightful place on a sort of proper album. It's not really a proper album, but it's an album.
I agree.
And I bet that Gary was delighted, because when you read, I think Somebody Someday, he talks in that about how happy he was when Robbie recorded Get the Joke, and that Gary and his girlfriend or wife, I don't know, were going into CD shops and just picking up the CDs and looking at his name on the CD and how excited he was that it had been recorded. So I bet he was happy about this as well.
Yeah, I mean, Gary has a special place in Robbie world. Like you mentioned in the earlier episode, that he's the guy who's been there from day one.
Yeah.
And who's still there. It's
amazing.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, he's been with him for the longest time. Yeah.
Well, consistently as well.
Yeah.
Because obviously Guy was there at the beginning, but they had their falling out. And, whereas Gary's always been there. Okay, so should we move on to Karaoke Star?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Karaoke Star was written by Rob and Guy. It appeared as a B-side to Kids. And Robbie mentioned this song as one of his favourite B-sides that he's done on his app. And that is all the information I have.
Sometimes that's the way.
There's this interview, I think it was MSN, an old interview on YouTube. And it's almost the same story he tells that's in Karaoke Star.
Oh, yeah.
It must be a reference. I mean, it's about justify the job. It's a bit, there's a story about the lady confronting him that he's just sleeping with all those women, and she's lost a close relative, I think it was, and it's so obvious to me that it must be a reference from Karaoke Star to that experience.
That's how he answers her question, is it?
Yeah, I actually rewatched the interview just to make sure that I didn't remember it wrong, and it's still
right.
I'm pretty sure that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
because the line "justify what you get paid," can you? Doctors save lives, and you get laid,
exactly.
don't you?
Yeah.
Apologise for the job that you do. It would be nice if you were talented too. Yeah. I think you better lock up your daughter. That's my favourite line.
Yeah, in the interview, it's the interviewer who brings up to Rob that, did I see you have an argument with a lady the other day outside, whatever store it was, and then Rob tells the story. So yeah, I
like at the beginning. Did you do that girl that was in that soap?
Yeah,
I think that means maybe Anna Friel, because she was in Brookside, because he did go out with her.
Oh, I see. Is he asking himself that question through the song? Is that?
I think this is questions that people are asking him.
Oh, okay. So I see what you mean. So it's a question that has been asked to him.
Yeah. And then, will you save the whale? Like impossible, constant charity requests. You know, can you save the world? Requests. Yeah. But now that you're famous, what are you going to do to save the world? Kind of.
Yeah. I know that annoys him a lot, actually, because he does do a lot, and there's a few things that are public, but he said there's many, many other things that he does, and I think, I remember a friend telling me once, charity is what you do when you don't need to tell everybody else all about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think, Robbie takes the same view as well. I think he does plenty, a couple of things he does talk about, but then, what he does doesn't need to be publicised all the time.
Yeah. And then, will you be Bob Hope? As in, do something funny.
Yeah.
Because everyone expects
funny
him
now.
to do something funny.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I think it's a cynical song. But definitely in a beautiful way. It's so beautiful still.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's a beautiful song, but it's cynical and it's.
It's all the things that press his buttons that get him, annoyed, I think.
Yeah.
A celebrity village bike with a mic. Do you understand that reference?
No.
Okay, I thought that maybe that might need explaining to our...
Are you looking at me to explain?
No. Basically, it's like the village bike is someone who sleeps with lots of people. It's normally a woman, isn't it? Described as, I think.
We don't. Yes, it is that.
So it's
someone in the village or in the town that everybody knows that has slept with lots and lots and lots of people. So that's the village bike.
So everyone's ridden it. Basically, everyone's ridden that bike.
Yeah,
which is where that comes from. So
bike with the mic. So I didn't even know what that lyric was or meant until we were looking at it. I didn't realise he even said village bike.
No,
really.
I didn't either. But he's the celebrity village bike with a mic.
Yeah,
a fuckboy pop star.
Yeah. And the lush strings and timpani. I like that bit.
I was just going to say that's one of my favourite lines. It's so just the way he says the word lush and the sound while it's just
yeah.
Well, I have to jump in here because these lyrics amuse me. I'll be a karaoke star, lush strings and timpani have got it in for me. Now, I get the lush strings part, but the timpani drum? I mean, is it because that's the only musical thing that rhymes with me?
I think
yeah.
And I think it works, don't get me wrong. But one thing I did notice, I listened to it over and over again, I don't know whether you can hear it, is there is a sound of a timpani drum just after he sings that part. So the timpani drum is the big, massive drums in orchestras, where they've got the great big drumsticks.
Yeah.
And they sort of boom, 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 really loud.
Oh, right.
And just after he sings timpani, the timpani drum plays. Oh. So there you go. Another Matt factoid there for you.
Thank you very much. I like that.
Have a listen for that.
I will. Trust me.
And I love it towards the end when he keeps saying, everybody say I'm pretty, everyone say I'm handsome.
Yeah.
It's like a rousing thing. Come on, everyone. You have faith in yourself.
Yeah.
You are worth it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's what I feel from it.
Yeah.
So should we move on to Kill Me or Cure Me?
Yeah.
Written by Rob and Guy. This was on Kids. I found out that there's a song called Cure Me or Kill Me by Gilby Clarke, who was in Guns N' Roses for 3 years, which came out in 1994. But that's a heavy metal song, so it's nothing like Robbie's song. But I did wonder whether the title maybe gave Rob the idea.
Play on words a little,
for his
switching
song.
it around.
Could easily be.
Yep. So what do we think of Kill Me or Cure Me?
Now that's a great song.
Yes. You want to go first, Christina?
But why, Christina?
For several reasons, actually. Well, I mean, it's a rock song again. And I like the anger in it. It's great if you need to let out a bit of steam. And it reminds me a bit of being the angry version of Heart and I, which is another favorite of mine.
Yeah.
Because here it's Kill Me or Cure Me. In Heart and I, it's give me something to die for or design a quiet mind.
Right.
It's the same message. It's just it's the
Yes.
angry version and it's the smooth version.
Right.
And let just I have both versions of that message.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like a song of, well, basically drugs, isn't it? And how they've taken him over and he's had enough and he just either wants to get cured or just kill me because I can't take it any more.
Yeah.
But it's very sad in that respect, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Especially at this time when...
I was just going to say, time-wise, it's obviously...
very heartfelt.
Definitely.
I can't handle shit and it's beginning to bore me.
I was just going to point that line out. That's tough. It's tough. It's tough reading it, actually, more than hearing it.
Yeah. I'm wondering whether the not being able to handle shit is another way of saying that he can't handle the day-to-day life and basically couldn't give a shit if the drugs did kill him or cure him. So it's like, this will make me feel better, but if it kills me, then oof, who cares? It's that sort of attitude, isn't it? It's not nice.
That's how I hear it, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's the music underlines that mood as well, I think. Literally, kill me or cure me. I mean, I take it very literally. That is the message.
Yeah. I really love on a more positive note, I really love the row. It's got like a rousing start, it just gets going.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. It's a great song.
It just starts immediately and that tempo just keeps going constantly throughout the song.
Yep.
I love that.
Especially if you read the lyrics, I think, because the music kind of carries it.
It kind of hides what's written almost.
One that really stuck out for me was help me self-medicate.
Yeah.
Things can all look great. Stopped in this town to quench my thirst.
Exactly.
The bad man got here first, then the bubble burst.
Yeah. That's just...
There's a lot in that line, or lines.
Yeah. Imagine those lyrics in a more calm tune where you really get the words in. Here you are on a high beat and the rhythm carries you on. But if you had it in a... Again, my fuck you to you is that kind of song.
Yeah. But you really feel it, don't you? Because it's a slow song, whereas this...
Yeah. I
the
like
music
there's a
masks
contrast, isn't there?
Yeah. I thought the line, don't need to spend my bread, people do that for me instead. Must be thinking that I'll wake up dead in the morning. Obviously, bread is another term for money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it made me think of Josie, his old PA, because she used to just run his life for him,
Yeah.
ordering everything he needed and looking after him. So essentially she was spending his money for him, and she probably did often wonder if one day she'd turn up and find him in such a state.
I mean,
yeah. So it's very sad.
Yeah,
it can't be a nice thought or feeling to have at all.
Know.
no.
But thankfully, we all know that he's come through that, and it's all much better now, which makes it okay to talk about. Because otherwise, I think if I was talking about this back then, I without knowing what the future held,
I actually wonder how he felt recording it, because singing those words with that anger and that emotion.
Yeah.
I mean,
maybe
you can disconnect in the moment and just do the job, but
it must be hard.
If it's your own words, I think.
Yeah. And I wonder how Guy always felt like hearing Robbie say those words as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it helps. Maybe it's part of the therapy, the self-therapy of drawing a line under that and saying, well, that was how I was, and acknowledging it, And Robbie's very open about talking about these things, isn't he? I mean, he doesn't drone on about it, but he will acknowledge it, and he will, say, that part of my life I don't really remember, or that was because of the drugs. He's very honest about it, isn't he?
But essentially, we all think it's a great song.
Oh, yeah.
But just very sad.
Yeah.
Right, let's talk about United. So written by Rob and Guy, this was a B-side to Supreme. It was also released as a promo single for Pepsi's Ask for More ad campaign in Europe only. The UK 3-track promo CD has a remix and interview as B-sides, which you could get by collecting 25 blue ring pulls from Pepsi cans, or you could just pick it up from HMV, which I think is probably what I did. The TV advert took the mick out of other singers who mime. It shows Robbie talking to the camera, and then as he drinks from a Pepsi bottle, his voice carries on talking while he's drinking. So it's a very good comedy advert.
I think I remember that.
Yeah.
And in the interview on the promo CD, he's asked how he feels about following in the footsteps of people like Madonna, Tina Turner, Michael Jackson, who've all done ads for Pepsi before. And he says he's quite happy that they all agreed to go on before him, warming up for him. Typical Rob answer there. Robbie answer. He wrote it on tour in Europe, where he could only get CNN in English on the TV in hotels, so all he saw for about a month was the news. He said it was all horrible stuff which was affecting him. He started to write the song for the Pepsi ad while on the tour bus, and one of the lines he originally wrote was, "I'm sick of the pain that I see." And he's thought, I can't sing a song where I'm sick of the pain I see, but I'm getting paid money to sing this song for the company. So we decided to give the money away, and that was the inspiration behind United, knowing that through doing it, he would be doing some good.
Yeah. So I think he might have given it to his Give It Some charity, the money. I can't remember now. What
sounds about right.
But I think that's where he put the money from the Pepsi ad campaign.
I didn't know anything about the Pepsi campaign first when I heard the song. I mean, it just popped up as part of Rob's back catalogue when I started my research. But it is
interesting though, isn't it? Because the Pepsi commercials at the time, did you see those? Do you remember some of the?
Well, I didn't see them, but that doesn't mean that they weren't here.
Yeah, true.
They could easily have been here and me not noticing them.
Yeah.
But they only, at that time, they only had like mega stars doing them. Like they paid people obviously a lot of money to advertise. Like Madonna, Tina Turner and Michael Jackson would not have been cheap.
Nope.
So for Robbie to actually, step into their shoes and do something, similar was a big deal back in the day, wasn't it? Big deal. Yeah.
But actually, maybe because I didn't know anything about Pepsi and anything, I just embraced the song as it was.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I've always thought it was a song that would fit if if you were in a bar or something and Rob just suddenly jumps off on the table and starts singing this song. It's I don't know why that that scenario plays out in my mind, but it's always been like that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's got that sort of rock, well, not really rock, but just like a party.
Just united on the table and come out and sing along and come you be united and yeah. And I never understood the second part of it. I admit that.
What you mean, where it restarts again?
Yeah,
after the pause.
No. The second part of the song. I mean, there's two parts of it.
Yeah.
Because I think I've got it listed here. It's about 3 minutes 52 seconds.
That's the first
part. It sounds
part.
as though the song just stops.
Yeah.
It stops dead, doesn't it? And I know it does, but the other day I was still caught out by it when I was listening to it because I started to write something down, and then suddenly, boom! It starts again. Yeah, that's a strange thing.
What's the thing?
It's a strange thing to do in the arrangement. Yeah,
it's completely different, and I don't see any connection apart from the two parts being under the same title.
Yeah, they've got quite a different feel about them, haven't they?
The first part,
the second half kind of feels a bit like It's Only Us to me. I don't know why. It always makes me feel like
that's actually
it's
right.
Only Us. It's got that nutty kind of vibe about it.
I thought it was a bit funny because I watched the video when I prepared for this, and it might be a coincidence, but seconds after I watched the video, I got a Pepsi advert on my phone. That's kind of... And it wasn't on my phone I watched the video, it was on my laptop. Yeah. So
those cookies hiding there, telling Facebook what you're doing.
Yeah. But apart from that, I think it's another song I really enjoy, United.
Yeah.
Even it's part of whatever Pepsi campaign. It's an awesome tune.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is a good tune. Yeah.
Don't slap my face and call me brother. It's just brilliant.
I like don't put your idol on a mantle.
Yeah.
You'll only want your money back.
Yeah.
That's not true. I don't want my money back from Robbie.
So, me neither.
And then I think me and Matt, we both like this line, don't we? I sit and think about my maker and what he's got in store for me. I want to be a right-on daddy, protect my wife and family.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's nice that that's come to fruition now, isn't it?
Yes.
It's so good seeing him being that dad now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
considering he used to say that he would never get married and have children, to see him actually fulfilling that is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, and it sounds like he means it in the song, so...
Yeah.
Yes.
So he clearly did actually secretly want it.
Yeah.
All those years ago, even though he told himself he didn't.
Yeah.
Must have been some part of him that actually did want to get married at some point.
Again, depends on which voice you listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we're all schizophrenic, but,
It's true.
Different thoughts, especially when you're younger, he may have had a few different possible futures
Yeah.
Yeah.
in front of him.
I love his voice when he sings the United song.
Yeah. And then there's some sort of hypocritical, I don't know if that's the right word, lines in it. Don't slap my face and call me brother.
Yeah.
Lend a hand and knock me out. Just that.
Yeah.
I found that. So it's kind of saying we're not united.
Yeah.
That's That's
Because
right.
I guess he's been looking at all the bad stuff on the news and seeing that people are not united and actually are not helping each other. And so that's why he wants people to be united.
Yeah.
Spread some love and ask for more.
Yeah.
I mean, watching the news for 1 month must...
must just... I mean, what a meltdown.
The news is always... Yeah, it's just always so negatively skewed, isn't it?
It's unhealthy.
So that must really very...
He doesn't watch it now, does he?
I hope not.
No, I don't think so. He stopped, didn't he?
yeah. And this, well, still what, 20 odd years on, yeah, watching the news too much is not healthy for you at all.
Nope.
Okay, so should we talk about Don't Do Love?
Yes.
Yeah.
Matt?
Don't You Love. So written by Rob and Guy. This also appears as a B-side to Supreme as well.
And that's all the information we have.
Well, yeah, maybe I'll kick off then, because that is the one line that we've got on it. For me, it feels quite depressing, especially the opening of it. I don't know why. It just kind of immediately just takes me down. So not, this might not be very popular, but not a favourite of mine.
Right.
I don't really listen to this song. It's obviously a sad song, but yeah, it doesn't do it for me. It's not one that I would sort of purposely choose to listen to. I'm afraid to say, ladies.
Well, I don't put it on like that either, but it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
I mean, and I have the first note I made was the pain wrapped in such beautiful softness.
Yeah, it is.
It's just and some of the lines. I mean, I can't help being rude if you get too close to me. It just fits Rob in some way, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely does.
From what he's saying about himself, and
I'm not your lover, baby. I'm not the one. I won't meet your mother, lady. I don't do love. Yeah, just his refusal to settle down at that stage of his life with anyone.
Yeah.
Pushing everyone away, not letting them get too close.
And then I read the lyrics a couple of times, and I thought it's a bit interesting that there's the line, I can't believe it's not in me. That's in the start of the song. And then later, I can't believe that you can't see it's not in me.
Yeah, I picked up on that line as well.
Right. So it's slight change to the same line.
So he doesn't see it himself, and he even doesn't understand that others don't see it.
Yeah. So he's breaking hearts, but he's like, well, why did you think that I could commit? Isn't it obvious that I can't?
Exactly.
He doesn't want to let people down, but he's like, well, you shouldn't have attached yourself to me because can't you see that I'm not ready to settle down?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It sounds like a very personal song.
Yeah, I'd say.
It's got a lot in it, I think.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting that obviously with him and Ida, they broke up several times before he finally settled down with her. So I should think that if she listened to this song, she'd find it quite poignant, and it would take her back to those times when he did dump her a few times.
Yeah.
Well, I also think, hearing you talk about it, there's probably not many people that have such a promiscuous period of their life as Robbie did have. You know, that lifestyle has got to be challenging on your head after a while.
Absolutely.
In terms of, you know, the lustful sort of side of it and not the love side of it happening. It's got to screw your head a little bit.
Yeah.
Got to.
I wouldn't like to be in his position anyway. God, no.
No. I wouldn't have wanted to go through that, I don't think.
So yeah, I do like the song.
You do?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But it
I
does
don't hate it. It just doesn't do it for me. Do you know what I mean?
That's fine.
It's one of those where I'm like, I think I might not listen to that. Probably because it makes me feel sad.
Yeah, well, I like listening to it, but it's not a song I put on just because I want to hear a song that...
Yeah.
Yeah. Same.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
So should we move on to Come Take Me Over?
Yeah.
and do that.
Written by Rob and Guy. This appears on Supreme. And there's a video clip of Rob singing this on set of the video for Supreme. He's playing it on his guitar and said, I wrote that song all the way up to there, and then Guy wrote the other 2 chords, and I don't know what they are. So he had to stop playing. So he played it up to the point of, come take me over, is that too much to ask? And had to stop before the line, before I leave this town, love me or put me down. So he wrote it all the way up to there.
Right.
Music and lyrics. And he also said in Feel that it's probably the first song that I wrote the music to, and then Guy did the end bit, and it's not very good. And then he also said on his app, I wrote the music to that one too. I went on a few dates. She wasn't into me. It hurt. Lucky escape for both of us, I think. So yeah, interesting. I wonder who that was. It's actually written about someone.
Yeah.
We'll never know who.
No. Now, that's one of my favorite songs of all time.
Is it?
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
It is.
Tell us about what you think.
Yeah, let's hear about what you think.
Absolutely love everything about it. Literally everything. I mean, the piano, the guitar, the lyrics, Rob's voice. I have bits where I recognize just how he sings a single word, which might be my favorite part. It's absolutely, it's a masterpiece in my mind, to me.
Right.
And it's one of the songs of his I've heard the most.
Oh, okay. Wow, you really love it.
I really, really like that one.
It's in your top 20?
Yes, definitely.
Oh, it's made the top 20.
Wow.
It is.
That's quite high up in the top 20.
Well, the top 20
they're all
isn't further.
Oh, it's not in order, right? Okay.
Graduated. It's just. but I really, really love "Come Take Me Over," and I so much hope we get to hear it live. It would be perfect for another Under the Radar gig, and I'll probably cry my eyes out like a baby. I love every single second of it. It's so good.
I really like the chorus of this song, especially. I do think that it should have been on In and Out of Consciousness as well. So yeah, some of the lyrics I like. Should I walk naked? Should I bare my soul? Won't you help me fill this hole? And what I'm trying to say is be the one and love me anyway, though I'm too far gone.
Yeah.
What about you? Any lines that you like especially?
Well, the part from what I'm trying to say, if I could touch, and then all the words is that I've had enough. It's one of those songs where I can connect to myself, both how I was many years ago and where I am today, and it makes so much sense to me what I get from that song, both for myself, but also the song itself. It's difficult to explain, when you meet those unique songs that does something above average to you, and this is one of them. So
you really connect with this one?
Yeah, I do. And again, I have those bits where just listening to the piano for 10 seconds, and it happens every time I hear the song. I have to stop. I'm maybe 7 times during those 3 minutes or how long it is, because I have to hear the piano there, I have to hear the guitar there, I have to hear Rob saying that word there, and I can't just hear it. I have to stop what I'm doing and really hear it.
Right.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
So good.
I like the middle 8 as well. Take me to the shops, tie me up and abuse me. I'm looking good, so how could you refuse me?
So,
It's brilliant. Love that line.
Yeah.
And also, what's interesting, he says, I'll meet your mum, which in the previous song, Don't Do Love, he said, I won't meet your mother. But in this song, he's like, I'll meet your mum.
Yeah.
So this is quite a submissive song in terms of, basically he wants whoever it is to come and actually take him over and can't get enough.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But obviously they weren't into him.
No.
More fool them.
Yeah. I mean, hey.
I like this song. Again, it's not one I've listened to a lot, but there's something lovely about the acoustic guitar at the beginning and how it starts. That's just a really nice beginning to it.
You should listen to the piano as well.
I will. I'm going to go back and listen to the piano more now.
Should we go on to Rolling Stone?
Yeah.
Written by Rob and Guy, it was a B-side to Let Love Be Your Energy. And that's the research. What do we think about that song?
Well, it's funny because it makes a couple together with "Come Take Me Over" for whatever reason, but it's not quite as high up as "Come Take Me Over," but it's definitely an all-time favorite of mine as well. And I see those two songs always together. I mean, I don't know why, but they are linked together to me in some way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like 25 and I Come Alive, 21 was the time to come undone, doesn't everyone?
Yeah.
And obviously that's the first mention of Come Undone, which maybe became the inspiration for Come Undone.
Because I asked you the obvious question, didn't I, when we were preparing for this? I guess he wrote this song when he was 25.
Yeah.
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 I presume so.
There's a lyric near there which talks about very ape. What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know what that meant either. Like acting the fool, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be actually. I like the line, being young is overrated. And then the whole thing until I run naked through the streets. That part of the song I really like.
Yeah. I wrote that down as well. Being young is overrated.
Yeah.
One day I'll be old and understated.
Yeah. But before I'm through, I run naked through the streets. That's an awesome part of the song.
But then in most of his other songs, he talks about how being young was the best time of his life. But then in this song, he says that being young is overrated.
Yeah.
But I take that to mean, in this song, being young as in his 20s is overrated. And he's thinking that maybe by the time he's in his 40s, he'll be old and understated.
Yeah.
But he's certainly not understated now, is he?
No. And then there's this, is it Stone, he says at the very end?
Yeah, that's a Mick Jagger impression. You know,
oh, is it supposed to be Mick Jagger?
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, because when he was in Take That, he would quite often do his Mick Jagger impression on TV interviews.
What, the strutting? Oh,
yeah, the voice. And, the voice.
Yeah,
well, he'd do a Mick Jagger voice. Yeah. So when he's saying Stone, that's in his Mick Jagger impression, as in the Rolling Stones.
Of course.
It's only obvious because I've heard him do that impression over the years and it's sort of stuck in my head.
I find these lyrics interesting and confusing at the same time. So, when we die, we'll find out other ways for getting drunk and throwing it all away. Today is tomorrow and not yesterday. It's all in your head, so get out of your head. When we die? You know, okay, maybe there might be other ways he's talking about on the other side. Maybe today is tomorrow, and maybe that could refer to being up all night. I don't know, being up late, or maybe none of that. What do you think?
I don't really know. What do you think, Christina?
Well, maybe we just don't care that we die. We'll continue anyway. I mean...
Yeah. Yeah.
That could be it.
Yeah.
It's all in your head, so get out of your head. Just live your life. Is that it? I don't know.
Yeah, and again, we could overanalyze and speculate that dying is just a point in the big journey. Just because you die doesn't mean you have to stop getting drunk. from singing away. You just have to continue in another part of the universe or whatever.
I think this is part of what I quite like about Robbie, actually, because I mean, sometimes he just says, "Oh, I just wrote those lyrics that didn't really mean anything," and then another time you see in an interview and he'll say they meant something. So you never really truly know with him.
We have to,
you know. But what I do like is lyrics that play with my head. I that's why I'm saying I find it interesting and confusing at the same time. So it's fun, and I just today is tomorrow and not yesterday. I like that. There's something I just like that.
To me, it's this positive attitude that, look, even when we die, there'll be something after that.
Yes,
we'll still be able to have some fun.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It won't stop just because we die. That's silly. That's my mindset every time I hear it, actually. And I like that. I get that.
I like that outlook.
Message from it.
Yeah.
I looked up what the meaning of a rolling stone is, because it's a saying, and it says it's someone who won't settle or changes their pursuits frequently. So it definitely describes Rob at that time.
Yeah.
But even now today, he still changes his pursuits fairly often. He goes through these phases of what he's obsessed with, like golf and art and
metal
chat,
detecting,
Instagram, karaoke.
Yeah, it could be said that he goes through certain fads, I think is the word.
Yeah.
Fads. Some of them stay a long time, some of them are a few months, some of them are people.
Yeah. And he got an A in attitude.
Yeah.
Spent money on drugs to suit my mood. He definitely has an A in attitude.
It's such a great line.
Yeah. So, moving on to My Way Live. My Way is set to the music of the French song Comme d'habitude, composed and written by Claude Francois and Jacques Revaux in 1967. Its English lyrics were later written by Paul Anka and are unrelated to the French song. Frank Sinatra popularised it in 1969, and his version spent 75 weeks in the UK Top 40, which is the second longest charting record of all time, behind Fairy Tale of New York, but it only peaked at number 5. It was also number 2 in Canada, number 4 in Ireland, and number 27 in the US Billboard chart.
Goodness me, how long was Fairy Tale of New York in the charts for?
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't know that.
Me neither.
Paul Anka heard the French song on holiday and he acquired the rights for $1, as long as the song's original composers retained their royalty rights. Anka later had dinner with Sinatra, who told him he was quitting show business. So Anka rewrote the song with Sinatra in mind to sing it. Sinatra's daughter Tina told the BBC in 2000 that Sinatra came to hate the song. He didn't like it, and that song stuck, and he couldn't get it off his shoe. He always thought that song was self-serving and self-indulgent.
Wow.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. It's often the song most played at funerals in the UK. Angels is number 5 in the all genres of music chart of songs played at UK funerals, but is the most modern popular of the pop songs to be used. Angels, that is. So, although Rob has sung My Way live in many of his concerts since the Sermon on the Mount tour at the end of 2000, he's never recorded a studio version and put it on one of his swing albums. So we only have these live versions to listen to.
Yeah.
He's played it at least 140 times, according to setlist.fm, making it the 16th song overall that he's played most in his career, and the cover that he's sung live the most, apart from She's the One. So my brother actually wants this song at his funeral. My oldest brother, he told me that. But he wants the Frank version. He doesn't want Robbie singing it.
Okay.
And also, my mum thinks that Robbie sings this song better than Frank Sinatra.
I like your mum.
Yeah.
I do remember her saying that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's just a great sing along when he does this, isn't it?
It is.
The concerts. He always turns the auto cue round so that the crowd can see the words.
I remember when I watched the Albert Hall video the first time. Again, it must have been in 2013, 14, whatever. And watching My Way. And I just thought, look, if I could be that lucky to hear Rob singing that one live just once.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was to come.
Yeah.
And I was so sad that I hadn't been there for that gig. And then the first time I heard him singing it live on the Swing Tour, it was just revenge. And it's just, yes, I had it, my moment with My Way. And since then I've heard it so many times, but still, it was one of those moments where I felt justice was served, because I really needed to hear him singing it live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does it so well, I think. He sings it perfectly.
He does. And I don't think it's possible to get bored of this song.
No.
I was thinking about this, and although I've heard it so many times at parties, at gigs, events, not just Robbie's, everyone seems to know the words to it, which is great. I love the energy and the passion that builds up when everybody's singing it together. And as you said, it really suits Rob's voice.
It does.
His voice is incredible. The depth of his voice really works with it. And it's also a really classic and legendary song. And I was also thinking a little bit about, the words in it. We all have to face that final curtain at some point, although we continue on, as you said, Christina. But I think it's good to be able to say that we did it our own way, and there's obviously there's a few regrets, but you did it your own way, and you got on with it. And so I love the sentiment and the message in the song. I just think it doesn't become trite or cliche. There's something clever about the way this is written and the way he sings it.
I like that in this version in particular. I'm guessing he sung it in the arena concerts at the end of 2000.
Yeah.
But I like that he says, I saw it through with a tax exemption instead of without exemption. And then he says, my share of boozing instead of losing.
Yeah.
I like that he just makes it his own. You know?
Yeah.
And have you noticed that there isn't really a chorus in this song? It's actually just all verses.
Ah.
It's just, I did it my way. That's about the only thing that
repeats. Yeah. So it's a story, basically, a song story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, with him covering that song on the tour was another thing that led to him doing the Swing album a year later, enjoying singing that.
Yeah. And I like that. That's another thing I like about it, that there's a reference to the whole swing part of his music.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah. So let's talk about Toxic now.
Yes.
Written by Rob and Guy. This appeared alongside Eternity and The Road to Mandalay. He wrote and recorded it during the Sermon on the Mount tour in Hamburg. In Somebody Someday, writer Mark McCrum documents how Robbie listened back to Toxic in the recording studio and told Guy, "You've made it all work, haven't you? You're really great for that." And then Rob got hiccups while recording his vocals, so they had to stop. They discussed the lyrics, and Guy said he thought it needed to be something shouty, aggressive, quite Limp Bizkit-esque. Rob said on his app that this was one of his favourite B-sides, apart from the middle eight, which I don't agree with.
What is the middle eight?
The middle eight is like the bridge.
No, I know what the middle eight is. But give me the lyric of the middle eight.
Call me in, my lord, I'm coming down. That must be the middle part.
Yeah, I think you're
Doesn't
right.
like that bit. Thank you, Christina.
You're welcome.
I think it is one of his best B-sides as well.
Yeah.
Wow, I have to agree. I mean, wow, what a good song is I've written here. It is a great song.
There's something about it, isn't there? And I don't know really what it is, but there's just a feeling.
It's another one of those songs. When I first heard it, I felt so ashamed of ever rating Rob as just another random pop boy.
Yeah. Yeah, this song, it
Sorry.
cuts deep, doesn't it? It's just, as he says, and it words cut deep.
Yeah.
He doesn't say that. He's sorry. He says words can burn a happy home.
Yeah.
But that kind of means words cut deep.
I think my favorite line is probably, "Don't tell me my pain is pleasure. You haven't got a clue."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's another tough one.
And I want to cry, but I don't make a sound.
Yeah.
I am your child, and your child is feeling down.
Yeah.
Everybody's toxic in this town. You can hear him saying that to his mum, can't you?
Exactly.
And how she must feel knowing that that's how he's feeling,
Yeah.
and not knowing how to help him.
Yeah. I love the part, "Oh me, my lord, it's coming down." I like that part.
Yeah,
Even though he doesn't.
The middle eight.
Yeah, exactly. And then and towards the end, the guitars and drums start getting really heavy, like really going for it, like head-banging proportions. It really goes. I absolutely love that part.
Yeah.
Just the energy in it. I just really enjoy that bit. I go around the room headbanging.
Actually, I imagine it would be quite emotional hearing it live.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love him to do this at an Under the Radar concert.
That would
Yeah.
be so good.
Yeah.
It has this cynical side. I
Yeah,
think,
it does.
Cynical, raw perspective.
It's kind of got everything in this song, hasn't it? It's just cool. I mean, it's slightly on the sad side, but then there's some sort of intriguing parts to it. The arrangement is very interesting. The lyrics are great. There's a story. For me, it's got
everything.
absolutely everything in it that's Robbie, and Guy.
In my notes, I can't remember why, but I wrote "an early come undone."
Oh, yeah. I can see what you're saying there.
Yeah.
It's got the pain, hasn't it?
Yeah,
And
it might be that. Yeah,
But it's also the music and the melody. It's got that feel, I'd say, of
Yeah.
Come Undone.
yeah. You could say that there's some toxicality, if that's the right word, in "come undone."
Yeah. Yeah, there is definitely.
there is. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, when he says "sticks and stones may break my bones,
Yeah,
but words can
that's-
burn a happy home," he always says, how hard he takes it when people are mean about him, and it really does cut deep, which is why he tries not to look
Yeah.
at the internet, but he can't help doing
No.
so. People just don't see how their words can hurt people, and they really do.
I think it's a general problem that most people,
Yeah.
for some reason, think that famous people aren't made of the same DNA as the rest of us, and they
Yeah.
suddenly don't have feelings, or they don't. I don't know what it is, but it certainly
Yeah.
seems like there's some kind of general misunderstanding about famous
I
people.
know. It's sad, isn't it?
Very sad.
Like, there's people that I really don't like, and I have said their names on this podcast, but I would never, ever dream of going online and
Trolling them.
trolling them and
No.
saying horrible things. It's just so unnecessary. I just don't understand how people think it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could go very deep on that topic.
Yeah.
Indeed. I think there's something in society and there's something to do with social conditioning, I think, in the way that people, to your point, Christina, people see and perceive celebrities as not the same, and that can just be abused and, trolled, and that's okay because they earn loads of money and it's all right. But actually, they feel it like everyone else feels it.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, that's where toxic has taken us.
Yeah, very deep. Very deep indeed. But let's get superficial again.
Let's do it.
we do this on this podcast, as listeners will realise. Yeah, we can get very deep 1 minute and then totally superficial the next. So should we move on to Not of This Earth?
Yes, please.
I'm not saying this is superficial, of course. That wasn't the segue. But written by Rob and Guy, this was included on the Bridget Jones's Diaries soundtrack, which came out on the 3rd of April 2001. The soundtrack made number 2 in the UK, Norway, Australia, Austria, Denmark, Netherlands and New Zealand. It was also number 36 in the USA, which is quite high, isn't it, in the USA?
Yeah.
It was certified 3 times platinum in the UK, 2 times platinum in Australia and platinum in Spain, and it had 2 million sales in Europe and was certified as 2 times platinum in Europe overall. Obviously, Have You Met Miss Jones also featured on this soundtrack, but we'll talk about that in the next episode as it's on the Swing When You're Winning album.
Yeah. So I love this song.
Me too.
Oh, good.
It's so beautiful.
I feel as though you're holding back there.
Oh my
How much
God.
do you love this song?
It's definitely in my top 10, I'd say, of Robbie songs.
Ooh.
Which I've never written down. I haven't got a list, but in my
your
head,
head.
it's in the top 10. And if I actually made a list, I might find there's 20,
Yeah,
like you
it'd
have.
be like 30 if you made
I
a
was
list,
just
probably.
going to challenge you on that.
Yeah. I think it's just beautiful. And I bought the Bridget Jones soundtrack and I played this song on repeat constantly in my car.
Wow.
Constantly.
It has this, it creates a special atmosphere
Yes.
when you listen to it. It puts you in a special mood, isn't the right word. It's so smooth and so beautiful.
It's just romantic, isn't it? And recently, in the past couple of weeks, on Facebook, I've seen some people asking for recommendations for first dance songs for weddings, that they're Take That fans or Robbie fans. And they're like, oh, I can't think of what song to put. And for both these people recently, I've said this song because I just think it's perfect as a kind of, wedding or first dance type song.
Well, I can say, although this is an audio podcast, obviously, I think listeners can hear it in Christina's voice and Lucy's voice, but also I saw both of your faces when we just said the title, or I said the title, and you both just completely lit up, and so So when you say it's more than just a feeling, I think that definitely. I mean, I can agree. It's a fantastic song. I think Rob's vocal is incredible, and I know we're biased, but I think it really is incredible. I don't think I personally don't have quite the same affinity maybe that I know Lucy does to Bridget Jones, but in terms of that whole institution of Bridget Jones, I think it's great. I love the films and everything, but I still find it a really powerful, very, very moving song. Just it does create a lovely feeling.
Yeah.
And listening to it, there's something that sort of carries you along on the beat. I don't know how to describe it. It just takes you with it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It's a refined love song. In both the lyrics and the music and Rob's voice, and it's complete.
Yes, that's a good way of describing it.
Absolutely.
And I really want him to sing it at an Under the Radar
please.
gig. But I just don't know if he will. I don't know if it's even on his radar, He never really mentions it.
We'll put it there.
Yeah. Keep on at him.
Yeah.
Do you know if he was commissioned to write it or whether they had written it and they decided?
I don't know. I know he was asked to do Have You Met Miss Jones for the soundtrack. And so I don't know whether...
Just wondering whether he and Guy had already had it in the bank, whether it was
I'd love to
there.
know,
Yeah. Maybe one of our listeners might know. They can let us know if they know that.
I like the line, she's going to have to change her name so then they'll know that we're the same.
Yeah. I picked the line, she came walking down the lane, or my lane, whatever. That's, again, the atmosphere it creates when I hear it.
Yes.
It's...
And I like Better Get Used to This Smile, going to be around for a while. Yeah. Like that.
You get wrapped in cotton when you hear it.
Yeah. She's not of this earth, and I no longer need to search. If I ever leave this world, you will have a song to sing, so you know what you're worth.
Very, very clever lyrics. Very beautiful lyrics. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
So let's move on to the next one. And Lucy's allowed me to introduce this one. This is interesting. Kylie Minogue, Love Boat. So written by Rob Guy and Kylie and produced by Steve Power. This is an album track from Kylie's Light Years album, released on the 25th of October 2000. It was the opening song on her On a Night Like This tour. Kylie was lowered on an anchor to her cruise ship themed stage, and she also performed it on the Kylie X tour in 2008.
So yeah, I obviously like this song because I am a Kylie fan, but it helps.
Thank
that
you for
Robbie,
letting me introduce it. I'm honoured.
It helps that Robbie and Guy have written it, which makes me love it even more. And in episode 3, I did point out that the bar bits are like Grace on I've Been Expecting You.
Yes, they are.
Which now I've got the Kylie one in my head. I can't think of the Grace bars, but they're very similar.
We like a good bar.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just a really jolly, happy, camp, cheesy song, which I love.
It is.
I have only heard it a very few times until I started preparing for this one, so I couldn't remember it.
So were you even aware of this song before we asked you to do this episode?
It's been brought up. I can't remember the conversation, but you know how we sometimes talk about songs.
Yeah.
Someone probably asked him about working with Kylie, yeah?
Yeah. But I couldn't remember it. I admit that. But it is a jolly, lovely pop song. Puts you instantly in a nice mood, and
it does. It's kind of it's quite like camp, as they say. We'll just float because the beach is boring. Our love boat is more alluring. Pass me a peach, rub on some lotion.
Yeah,
the places I can't reach.
I like that one.
Yeah. Cool down with cocktails.
Yeah.
I only made the connection recently to The Love Boat. Now, there used to be a US TV show
I remember
when I was younger. You remember The Love Boat? Yeah. Lucy doesn't remember it. It was very sort of corny and cheesy, almost slightly comedy, a mix of romance and all sorts of things. But it was a fun sort of show, wasn't it? About people who were going off on a cruise ship and all what happened to the crew and the guests and everything. I just wondered whether that was an influence. There's a linkage in the name, at least. And I love the fact that 007 Heaven, you know, the little nod to Bond is in here. I love that.
Well, that makes me think a bit like it made me think of like an Austin Powers Flower Power 1960s kind of vibe, which is a bit like James Bond from the sort of 60s as well. Isn't it? Yes, a great feel-good holiday song.
It is, and I must say it gets better. I didn't quite know what to think of it as a whole the first times I listened to it preparing for this podcast, but I actually enjoy it now, and I like hearing it. You know, it puts me in a good place.
Yeah, same.
And there's a lot of French lyrics in this song, isn't there? A lot.
Well, because Kylie has lived or does live. She's now moving to Australia, but she has lived in Paris, so I think she must speak quite a bit of French. So she obviously wrote a lot of the French bits, I'd say.
Yeah.
I can just picture Kylie's male dancers in their sailor outfits on this tour. Because I went with my gay friend Ewan, and we were so excited to see Kylie together because she hadn't toured for quite a while, and I hadn't been to see her before. But now that I had my friend Ewan to go with, that was it. We went together. It was just amazing. Loved it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to another Kylie Minogue song, Your Disco Needs You. Again, Lucy's letting me introduce this, but I know she'll have plenty to say about it. This was also written by Rob, Guy and Kylie, and this is another of Kylie's album track from Light Years. Robbie said, I wanted to impress her, and we wrote Your Disco Needs You, which is the gayest song ever written, and I'm very proud of it. Again, produced by Steve Power, it was released as a single in only a few countries on the 22nd of January 2001. It reached number 20 in Australia, despite only 10,000 copies being released. It was 27 in Switzerland, staying in the chart for 17 weeks, and 31 in Germany, where it stayed in the chart for 12 weeks.
So it was considered too gay to be a single in the UK by her record company. They didn't want Kylie to be stereotyped as a gay icon, which I just find shocking. So Please Stay was chosen as the fourth single off her album in the UK instead. There were actually protests outside the UK record company from fans lobbying for it to be released as a single here. However, it managed to chart at 152 in the UK on imports alone. There's an 8-minute almighty mix of this song on the B-side to Kylie's On a Night Like This single, which is a great dance track too.
Record industry don't have so much control over that anymore, do they? People can listen to what they want to listen to.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
Guy said, I'm very proud of the song. The only thing that's laced with some mixed emotions is that Miles Leonard, who was the head of Kylie's label at the time, stopped it being a single in the UK. That was painful, it really was, because it should have been a single in the UK and it would have done really well. I'm very grateful to the fans for keeping this song alive over all these years. It's wonderful. Guy also teased the possibility of Robbie recording his own version of Your Disco Needs You, saying, I think he will do that at some point, and I think he should. Oh, that would be fun, wouldn't it?
He has said on Instagram live that he would like to make his own version.
I'd love to hear him sing it. I think it'd be really fun.
Would. So Your Disco Needs You talks about the power of disco music. Kylie recorded the French lines in German, Spanish and Japanese too, which you can find on YouTube. Robbie even features on backing vocals, but I'm not really sure where. Can't really hear him.
Ba, 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 ba. No, that's the other song. There's no bars in this. Okay.
Kylie has performed it on 5 of her tours since 2000. There are 2 different music videos, one filmed in LA, which Kylie wasn't happy with, then another for the German market, but fans preferred the original, so the German one doesn't air anymore. Digital Spy reviewed it, saying, if Your Disco Needs You doesn't put a smile on your face, you need a new shrink. All Music said, it's probably one of the best dance songs of the 90s, arguably one of the best disco records since the 70s. In March 2008, samesame.com.australia listed the song at number 5 in their 50 gayest songs of all time.
Wow.
The Guardian said, both preposterous and preposterously good fun. Clearly the result of a concerted effort to conjure up the campest song imaginable. It involves Village People backing vocals, an ABBA-esque chorus, and I Will Survive string. So,
Wow.
This is literally one of my favourite Kylie songs ever. Love it, don't I?
Yes, you do. I can attest to that. Yes, and you love Kylie.
I love Kylie.
I love Kylie.
But as soon as it starts, I'm just like, yes, I love this one, and I just want to dance.
It's a really good pop song.
Yeah, it really is. And I listened to a Kylie fan podcast called The Diminutive Collection. It's a bit like Robbie Rewind, but for Kylie fans.
Big shout out to the Diminutive Collection.
Yes.
Lucy wants to go on that at some point.
Well, maybe.
Maybe you can return the favour and they can come on this show.
No. But one of the podcasters loves this song. He's absolutely obsessed with it. Like every episode, he talks about it. Every guest fan they have on, he asks them what they think of this song. So, it's just nice for me that it's a Robbie written song that, this guy loves so much. So actually, if I demand all our listeners, if you haven't actually heard this song, because you may not have done, if you're a Robbie fan, you may not be aware that there's a Kylie song that he's written.
Yeah.
I demand that you pause the podcast now and go and listen to this
Demand?
song. Yes.
Strong words. Not recommend or suggest, demand.
Yeah, you need to listen to it
Oh,
now.
I love it, Lucy.
Yeah.
Right, stop.
Stop talking. Okay.
Okay.
So someone else talk.
No, I meant stop the podcast, listen to Your Disco Needs You. Okay, and welcome back. There we go.
Later.
So what do you think, everyone?
Christina, what do you think of this song?
Well, like I said, it's a really good pop tune. It's, again, I haven't heard it more than a few times before I started preparing for this podcast.
Yeah.
I watched the video and was not impressed.
No, the video isn't very good, is it? I don't think.
It's not good. I mean,
no. Considering the song, it doesn't do it justice, does it?
Not at all. It was weird. So I watched the video once and not again because it didn't do the song any good in my ears.
No.
So I like the song better without the video. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But I haven't got to a point where I have a favorite line or anything. It's just
no.
I certainly hear it as a really, really good pop song.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and I totally understand why it's a favorite.
But then that's because I used to go to all the gay clubs. That was when I used to go clubbing. I used to like going to the gay clubs more than the straight clubs because there'd be a better atmosphere. Everyone's out just having fun.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't get fights. It's just everyone's there for fun and enjoying the music. There wasn't the same edge to it that you'd get at a straight club where there's, you know, sort of
and I can easily imagine it must have been a huge hit at the clubs.
Yeah, it was.
It's perfect.
It's interesting what you say, Lucy, because music is often linked to experience, isn't it? It's like when we go to gigs and we can remember particular gigs because of a particular song. So I think for you, it's not just the fact that it's Robbie and Kylie and a great song. It's also great times enjoyed with that song. Yeah, as well.
I actually read the line, "So let's dance through all our fears." And that instantly reminds me of being at a Robbie Williams gig.
Yeah.
Because
in
it
Robbie
is
Land.
an escape from whatever shit you are dealing with and however stupid the real world is. You just...
Yeah, you lose yourself in the music.
Yeah.
You know?
Bounce, 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 and off we go. And it's just...
Yeah, exactly.
There's a line that's similar to that for me. War is over for a bit.
Yeah.
Yes, get on the dance floor and lose yourself in the music. You just think, whether it is war literally or not, there's just, like you say, there's always shit going
Let's have a
on.
break.
And music and dancing can just let you get out of that for a bit. Yeah.
But even though it's one of my favourite songs, it did have misheard lyrics in it.
Ah.
Let's hear about that.
So, the real lyrics are, "So let's dance through all of this. War is over for a bit. The whole world should be moving. Do your part. Cure a lonely heart." And I thought it was, "So let's dance through all our fears."
That was what I just said.
Yeah, exactly. I know. That's what I've always thought it was, Christina. And it's only recently that I realised it wasn't. Worries over for a bit. That's what I thought it was, rather than war is over for a bit. The whole world should be moving to your heart. You're a lonely heart. But it's not. It's do your part. Cure a lonely heart. But I've always enjoyed it so much and just been so busy dancing
That's your
and
version.
singing along. I didn't really care what the lyrics were, in a way.
That's good as well when you get to that point with a song that, whatever, I just love it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just love it. And the high-pitched kind of vocals at the end, sort of screechy kind of bits, they're actually Kylie as well. They're not a backing vocalist. Because she has, when she sung it live in New York once, a cappella, and she did those bits live and it sounded incredible. That's on YouTube.
Yes.
If anyone wants to watch that. Yeah. But it just showed to me how good her vocals are as well.
I just think, obviously you love it like 100 times more than I possibly even can, but I still like it. It's a very powerful song. And I love the fact that the beat is almost like a marching beat. You know, I don't know, there's something about this song that just makes me feel as I did want to march along to it right from the beginning, you know, your disc. That's I love that. And then the line, "We're sold on vanity, but that's so see-through." I thought that's so true. Definitely, you can tell probably Robbie wrote that lyric, I think.
Yeah.
And I love the really powerful "Your disco needs you" chants all the way through the song as well. It's just something, I don't know, it's sort of sends a tingle down your spine, doesn't it, when it comes on, because it's so powerful. Yeah.
So
like it.
that's that song. I could talk about that song all day.
Yeah, I'm sorry I don't have that much
That's okay.
to add about that one.
Well, it's only because I'm a Kylie fan as well. That's why.
Maybe I think you're right. I think we've probably introduced some listeners to a couple of new songs there that they may not have been aware of.
Yeah.
That were linked to Robbie and Guy.
Yeah.
And Kylie, of course.
So the next song is We Are the Champions.
Yes, we are.
Yes, you are.
And it's the way we open our podcast,
It is.
Isn't it? And
It is.
Obviously this is going to be a very exciting song to talk about.
So written by Freddie Mercury, obviously, a Queen song that was originally released in 1977. That's the year I was born. It made number 2 in the UK, 4 in America, 2 in the Netherlands, 3 in Ireland and Canada. Robbie's version was recorded for A Knight's Tale soundtrack, which was released on the 24th of April 2001. So that's 2 soundtracks in 1 month for Robbie, Bridget Jones and A Knight's Tale.
Yeah.
About recording We Are the Champions, Rob said, "It was absolutely amazing being in the recording booth with Roger Taylor and Brian May, and to be in the room with Real History felt absolutely incredible. He did the backing vocals with them in the studio and was fascinated with how intricate the backing vocals were and how many parts it took to get that sound. Robbie sung it at the opening night of his weddings, bar mitzvahs and stadiums concert at Roskilde Festival in Denmark on the 30th of June 2001. He then dropped it from the set list of the tour and only reinstated it for the televised Cologne Stadium concert on the 11th of August.
At the time of recording, Queen apparently asked Robbie to join them as part of Queen. But Robbie declined because he didn't feel he could properly fill the shoes of the late Freddie Mercury. He said, "Even though I'm very competent here on the microphone, I have very low self-esteem. And I just thought I'd save them the audacity of me even trying to step on the stage and be in the same echelon as Freddie Mercury. He, to me, is angelic. He's godlike. It was just too scary." He also admitted he was already filling stadiums himself at the time and didn't want to have to split it 3 ways. Honest.
Why not?
Yeah. So he was almost doing too well to even
Yeah.
take such an incredible option, even if he did want to do it. Yeah.
Queen bassist John Deacon refused to take part in the recording as he retired when Freddie died and said no one could ever replace him. He told The Sun, "I didn't want to be involved with it and I'm glad. I've heard what they did and it's rubbish. It is one of the greatest songs ever written, but I think they've ruined it. I don't want to be nasty, but let's just say Robbie Williams is no Freddie Mercury. Freddie can never be replaced, and certainly not by him." Ooh, as they say.
Ooh.
Bitchy. Of course, since then, Queen have joined forces with Adam Lambert very successfully.
Yes.
And John Deacon still isn't a part of it.
Exactly.
And Robbie, of course, has commented on how great Adam is in this role. And I think Adam is perfect for the role.
Yes.
I'd say better than Robbie, actually, in that role, because Robbie's got his own persona, whereas Adam, he wasn't as famous, so he doesn't have the whole back history of his own career behind him.
Well, I think that I didn't know about Rob being offered that job until I knew Robbie Williams very well.
Yeah.
I grew up with Queen. In fact, the first vinyl I ever bought was Queen, the album with We Are the Champions.
Right.
So once I found out that Rob was offered that job, I was just, no. He should never do that. I can't have those two worlds overlap.
Yes.
It's just, and I've seen Queen with Adam Lambert, and that's perfect. And it's not that Rob would be worse or better. It's not about that. It's just I can't have those worlds colliding.
Yes.
So I'm very, very glad that for whatever reason Rob declined that.
Yeah, same.
I'm sure he was extremely honoured. I mean, we haven't really got any quotes on that, but obviously he was scared and said he couldn't do it. But I'm sure he was really honoured even to be asked. But it wouldn't have been the right path for him. He's got so much more. Well, if we look back over what's happened, he had so much more to do in his own career.
I mean, let's face it. If he had joined Queen, it would mean less Robbie Williams that we got.
Yeah.
So no, no.
And I agree with you. I don't think the two could have coexisted. Actually, I don't think it would have worked. No.
So I'm. But I like his version of We Are the Champions.
We obviously do.
And I absolutely love knowing that he's been in the studio with Brian May. As I mentioned earlier, I have something with guitar players, especially, in my opinion, the best in the world, and Brian May is definitely one of them.
Yeah.
And I think it's awesome knowing that Rob has been in the studio with him. I really like that.
Have you seen the video?
Yeah,
that Rob did. And I find it a shame that they're not in it with him.
Exactly, and that's weird to me because Queen being such a big thing for me, such a huge part of my life and music-wise, and seeing a video of their song without them, that's weird.
Because he was on a stage with a band behind him.
Yes.
Why couldn't they have been the ones playing the instruments? It didn't make sense.
At least Brian May and Roger Taylor. I mean, it makes no sense to me.
Especially Brian May with his long hair. Yes. He would have fitted right into that era that they were trying to portray in that video.
But again, I admit I haven't studied the video and I don't know the film or the video well enough to be sure that I haven't missed something that makes the video making sense in some way. But to me, it doesn't make sense. They are not there.
Well, we watched it last night and it's obviously set in the era of the film, which is nights in, I don't know what, like 1300s they said or something on the film.
Yeah,
something like that. And so Robbie's wearing like night chainmail, and he's got sort of funny hair and stuff. But I think he looks really good in it.
He does. I totally agree.
Yeah, there's one scene where it really captures his eyes, and it's not even a close up. It's like quite far away, but you can really see his eyes glowing in this video. Yeah, I think it's a really great video, but I just don't understand why Queen weren't in it with him.
Well, I'm pleased to hear that you're a fellow Queen fan, Christina. I remember, I remember in the vinyl days, when we had, all we played was vinyl. I do remember putting my parents' Queen albums on and listening to them and just thinking, wow, what incredible music, and the feeling it always generated listening to Queen was incredible. So I think and obviously with this song, We Are the Champions, you can imagine that it's been a bit of a family anthem.
Oh yes,
in my family, and I was born just slightly before Lucy in '76, and it came out in '77, and all the way through my life, it's been a song that's been played at family parties and discos, and we sing along with it.
Had it at our wedding, your brother's wedding.
Yeah,
it's always there, that song.
So good.
So
what a moment.
So this is one where we would love to hear him sing it live.
Please,
Robbie,
put it out. Please, Robbie, can you sing it in one of your concerts?
Because I think the crowd would enjoy it as well, because I think everybody knows that song. Probably globally, universally knows it.
Yeah.
So it'd be great to hear it. It really would.
Actually, it's a bit funny because we agree that we know Robbie would be perfect with Queen, and he was for the song. And still, I admit that on the opening night at the Let Me Entertain You tour, when he started Bohemian Rhapsody, I was don't go there. I was so scared.
But he did it really well, didn't he?
It was, I mean, it was so good.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah.
We loved it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. It was one of my favorite moments because in that way, I really, really loved the two of my worlds being combined.
Yeah.
And that was great. But it was just
So yeah, he's done Bohemian Rhapsody. He's done We Will Rock You, like constantly, because that merges into Monsoon.
Yeah.
Please, can we have We Are the Champions?
Yeah.
We need it. We need it. Munich would be great, actually. Let's hear it in Munich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even at Stoke. I know. Well, maybe more of a chance in Stoke than Munich, maybe.
But
Anyway,
as soon as he's actually recorded
would
it,
be great.
you know, it would.
And I mean, the lyrics, I love those lines, but it's been no bed of roses, no pleasure cruise. I consider it a challenge before the whole human race, and I ain't gonna lose.
Yes. They're great lyrics, aren't
Just,
they?
wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to
He needs
sing
to do
that
it.
with Robbie on stage.
Yeah.
I'm with
Yeah.
you on that.
The other thing that comes to mind with this song is Robbie does have a certain fascination with our name, with that surname,
Yeah.
that he's brought up on a couple of occasions. And I think he said on an Insta, I was on an Insta live with him once, and he said, "Oh, I like Matt Champion, or I like the Champion, because the name sticks out in the chat." And oh yeah, and so that was lovely that he said that. And then I think it was originally talking to Ida about it, and Ida was asking about it, and I ended up making. She asked what the meaning was behind it. You know, where did it come from? And I ended up making it sound a bit shit, actually, because I said something about, well, it's quite close to champignon, which is the French for mushroom, and you know, some people think it's from that. And then I was like, what am I saying this for? And then I had another Insta call with Rob where he asked about it again, and I'd remembered that actually Champion was someone that was a bit akin to a gladiator, someone that fought on behalf of a noble person, and I told that story instead, and it sounded much better. So I was pleased with that version.
Better than the mushrooms.
Yeah.
But yeah, Champion's certainly always been a cool name to have. And some people don't believe it. And some people,
Some people put Chapman
yes.
because they can't believe that your surname's Champion.
So
It's
yes,
it's such a cool name. It really
we're very
is.
proud to have it. And yes, and very proud to open the podcast with it as well, aren't we?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
Right, so we've got 2 more songs, I think, to go through. So the next song is That Old Black Magic, which is a duet with Jane Horrocks.
Yeah.
Jane Horrocks is probably best known for playing Bubble from Ab Fab, and she has a talent for mimicking other people's voices. A film she starred in called Little Voice from 1998 was inspired by her own ability to impersonate the diva's sounds. Her friend Jim Cartwright wrote a play script which went to the West End and later got turned into the film, also starring my favourite actor, Ewan McGregor. After the success of the film, she received offers from record companies to record her own album but wasn't tempted. But when producer Laurie Gray suggested she sang in the style of the women she most admired, Horrocks agreed. Backed by an 18-piece swing band and recorded in New York, the album The Further Adventures of Little Voice also included a duet with Ewan McGregor and a posthumous one with Dean Martin. It was released on the 9th of October 2000 and made number 63 in the charts.
In the Lancashire Telegraph, Jane said, "Robbie approached me when Little Voice was out. He really liked that and asked me if I wanted a duet on his album. That never came about and didn't happen, so when I decided to do this album, I thought about a few duets, and Robbie Williams was top of the wish list." In That Old Black Magic, Jane sings as Marilyn Monroe. The track was written by Harold Arlen and Johnny Mercer in 1942 and originally performed by Gordon Jenkins and his orchestra. It was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Song in 1943 and was covered by Glenn Miller, Frank Sinatra, Julie Garland, Sammy Davis Jr., Margaret Whiting, and lyricist John Mercer himself. The Glenn Miller recording was number 1 on the Billboard chart in 1943. Marilyn Monroe, who Jane is parodying, sung this in her film Bus Stop in 1956. Then when Robbie did his swing album, she returned the favour and sang Things with him on it.
So I didn't even know about this song until a few years ago, and I was looking at Wikipedia at a list of all his songs and found this on it, and I was like, what is that? So I got it up on iTunes and listened to it. Had you heard of it, Christina?
Nope, I hadn't.
No.
So I was glad that I was being told about it, because I don't like not knowing. I actually found Rod Stewart covered it as well.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Not many years ago.
Yeah.
And I love the way Robbie sings it.
Yeah. He does do a good job of it.
Yeah. His voice is so good on it. I'm not that keen on the music.
No.
I actually checked out several of the other versions that you mentioned, and
Yeah.
I like Frank Sinatra's much more. And I
Oh,
would
okay.
love hearing Robbie singing it that way as well, because
Right.
Yeah.
I have a bit of a hard time with the music in this version.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But it's been nice hearing it in other versions, knowing that it is a good song, and yeah.
It's one that I'll skip, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
So I've discovered it, but I won't really play it that much. But it's nice to know that it exists, isn't it? And have the opportunity to hear it. And it's also, because this came before his swing album, it's another song that led him down the swing route.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, dipping his toe into the swing genre.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of find Jane has definitely got a great voice, but I find her voice in this song a bit grating, because she is doing the Marilyn Monroe impression, and I'm not really a Marilyn Monroe fan.
Oh.
Yeah, I think they both play their part really well in this song, and they are playing a part, aren't they? A character almost.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, Lucy. Jane's impression is just that little bit too full on.
Yeah.
And you sort of pick up on it, and that sort of starts to dominate how I hear the song, and I'm the same. But it affects her amazing singing voice, is what I'm saying. She is an incredible singer with incredible range and just very versatile. But that impression, it detracts from it a little bit for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not bad. It's just when one thing starts to dominate, you can't hear everything else.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about the music in it.
Yes.
Yes.
That dominates in the wrong way.
I'll have to listen to Frank's version and see what it could be like then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do that. Well, so many other people sang it. I didn't know about Rod Stewart. That's interesting to know as well.
So let's move on to the last song of this episode.
Yeah.
This is the song is called Surface Noise, and it's a duet with Sound 5. So Robbie appeared under a pseudonym, which was Tipsy McStagger. Sound 5 was Kelvin Andrews and Danny Spencer's group in 2000, who we all know. They wrote Rock DJ, and then they went on to do Reality Killed the Video Star, Rude Box, and loads of other stuff with Robbie. They've also called themselves Soul Mechanic. So this song appeared on their No Illicit Dancing album in 2000. I don't really know why Robbie did it under a pseudonym. I guess it was like an underground dance record, and they didn't want the name Robbie Williams on it, or he didn't want to take over their vibe that they had going on by having his name on it. I'm not really sure. I don't know how it came out that it was him on it either. Maybe people just worked it out from his voice.
Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, but to be honest, I don't really like this song. That's my very honest opinion.
No, I don't fancy it either.
Yeah, it doesn't really do anything for me.
No, I read the lyrics several times because there's a lot of stuff in the lyrics.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I got it wrong, but I don't think Robbie wrote any of the lyrics.
No, I don't think he did. I think he's just singing on it.
Yeah, exactly. And some of the words could easily have been his, was my impression. So he could have written lots of that.
Yeah. I kind of like the piano in the background.
Yeah.
But for me, I don't know, Robbie's voice sounds a bit weird, like they've distorted it a little bit. I feel like he sounds sort of evil in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah. And I picked up on your note there. The song is a bit trippy, purposely, I think.
Yeah.
That's the style.
Definitely.
But
purposely.
And there's lots of talking. And to your point, Lucy, that spooky Robbie voice, they have done something to it. I mean, he's obviously putting on, again, a bit of a character there.
Yeah.
But it's a bit unnerving.
Yeah.
It's funny because the way they use music and especially sounds, it actually reminds me a lot of Pink Floyd. I like Pink Floyd a lot.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I think it has a lot of the same use of sounds.
Yeah.
Building up around the song, which is funny, knowing that Rob doesn't have anything with Pink Floyd. So it doesn't make any sense to him.
Yeah. I kind of get why he recorded it with them, because they were his buddies at the time, weren't they? Well, they still are. But, yeah, it's just a bit weird.
I guess the flip side of all this is the audience that they were developing it for.
Yeah, it's not us.
It may have gone down a storm.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of vibe that they were creating. But yeah, I guess for us it sounds totally different, even though Robbie's got an eclectic mix of music.
Yeah. So I don't know whether it's the track, part of the track or not, but when you order this song on like iTunes, you get this annoying twinkle, twinkle little star at the end. And I can't work out whether that's actually meant to be part of this song or whether it's meant to be like a track that is sort of in between songs, like a little reprise type thing that is in between two different songs. Anyway, it's really annoying, and I have to make sure that I skip to the next song before that comes on. I mean, it's cute and everything, but it's just not what you want to be listening to.
It's funny you call it cute, because being in that song at that time, I don't even think it's cute.
Well, yeah, it doesn't fit with the song at all, does it?
It's almost like they put it there to make it a bit more scary and odd and weird.
But there is a gap, isn't there? The song sort of finish. It's not very big, but the song sort of finishes, and then that comes on. And I listen to most of my music online, Spotify or iTunes, and I often think, oh, is it just doing that music you will like thing, and why is it playing a nursery rhyme? I'm like, but then I realised it was actually part of the song, and it was like, I think the little girl's voice is cute, but it's super annoying. It's like really annoying, and every single time it comes on, I'm like, oh, get off.
I think when I get to the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, I haven't left the, let's call it, scary feeling I get from the basic song. So I carry that with me when they start singing Twinkle
That's
Twinkle.
true.
That's not how it's supposed to be.
Yes, you're right. It's meant to be a nice, jolly nursery rhyme.
Yes, please.
Actually, it really very much reminds me of when our kids were like, I don't know, 3 and 4 or something like that. We'd be in the car and you'd put your iPod on shuffle. And because we had nursery rhymes on there, you'd be listening to Robbie 1 minute and then Bar Black Sheep the next. Or Humpty Dumpty. Or Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So, yeah, I was pleased when we were able to take those songs off of our phone.
Yes.
I can imagine.
Because mostly when we put shuffle on, Robbie comes on.
Yeah.
So
We like that.
yes.
All right, so we've gone through all of the songs now on this
Yeah.
episode. We had a lot to work through on this one. He
did.
obviously very busy at this time of his career.
Yes.
So now we can talk about the tours that went with the album Sing When You're Winning, which we didn't feature in the last episode. We're going to put them both in this episode.
Yeah, we are, yeah.
So that it was the Sermon on the Mount, which covered 32 shows in 21 cities with an average of 20 songs per show. He did a warm-up gig at the Reading Rivermead Centre on the 6th of October 2000 and then properly opened the tour at the Birmingham NEC on the 9th of October. This was his first arena tour as a solo artist, playing 15 dates in the UK, including 5 at Manchester MEN and 3 at London Docklands. Prior to the tour, Rob also performed to 400 people at an exclusive Radio 1 show at London nightclub Scala.
The opening to the concert was Robbie, 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 set to Carl Orff's Carmina Burana. Or, for many people, don't know whether this ran in Denmark, but the Old Spice advert many years ago used to have
for aftershave.
The aftershave used to have. Anyway, as the curtain falls, there's an empty stage and no band visible because they're raised on a high stage that starts to lower as the music begins. Rob suddenly gets sprung up onto the stage on a throne inside a cage, as you do.
According to Feel, on the last night of the London shows on the 6th of November, Rob announced he couldn't do it. I'd just had enough. I just couldn't do it because I was so scared. I was just petrified of getting up on stage and looking like I was scared. The promoter was told, things were put in place to cancel it. David told Rob it would cost him £400,000. He had doubled it. Rob had been screaming all day, trying to break his voice, but it wouldn't break. In the end, he did the gig.
He was trying to break his voice.
Yeah, and he couldn't do it.
He really didn't want to do it.
So I saw this concert on the 31st of October 2000 at London Docklands Arena.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't really remember anything about it, which is really sad. I've got some photos from it and it shows I was fairly close. But that's about it. I think I went with Laura and Natalie.
Yeah.
Natalie from episode 1.
Mm-hmm.
And according to setlist.fm, he played some of U2's Beautiful Day that night, but I don't remember that either. Isn't it sad that I can't remember?
It was a long time ago.
It was. But it's funny how I can remember the 97 and 98 gigs clearly, but I can't remember this one at all. Really.
I'm not going to berate anybody on memory because, as people have heard from episode 1 and 2, I don't have the best memory either. So, Lucy, I'm sure that you remember enough
Yeah.
to know that you were at least there.
At least I remember being there, yeah.
One of the Manchester Arena concerts was televised on Channel 4 in the UK, and Kylie even made an appearance for kids, one of the few times they've sung it live together. And you can watch the concert on Rob's YouTube channel. So that's worth watching. The set list included Let Me Entertain You, Lazy Days, Let Love Be Your Energy, Knutsford City Limits, Strong, If It's Hurting You, Singing for the Lonely, Phoenix from the Flames, Better Man, She's the One, No Regrets, Karma Killer, Man Machine, Forever Texas, Supreme, Kids, Millennium, Angels, My Way, and Rock DJ. That feels like a lot of songs.
Yeah, I think that's quite a big set list for Rob, isn't it?
Yeah. The band was Gary and Phil on guitar, Guy on guitar and keyboards, Chris Sharrock on drums, Claire Worrell on keyboards, Yolande on bass, Kate Kissoon and Tessa Niles on backing vocals. Supported in the UK by the Dum Dums and Crispian Mills.
So The Guardian's October 2000 review went, middle-aged women completed the smorgasbord of the great British public, all hollering along to Strong, No Regrets and Kids with unfettered enthusiasm. This audience certainly lends weight to the notion that if there's a cultural icon that unifies Britain right now, it isn't the royal family or Coronation Street, it's Williams. Once an underdog, he's now the Mutt's Nuts.
The Mutt's Nuts.
I like that review.
I read that. It's great.
The tour moved to Europe from the 12th of February 2001 at Stockholm, Sweden, onto Denmark, 8 days in Germany, 1 in France, 1 in Belgium, 2 in the Netherlands, 1 in Switzerland, 1 in Austria, and it ended in Rotterdam in the Netherlands on the 16th of March 2001. The film Nobody Someday and book Somebody Someday followed him on the 2001 European tour dates. The book came out in September 2001 and shot straight to the top of the bestseller list. In them, Rob said, "I'm struggling to find things about my job that I enjoy. The money is fantastic, but that's the only thing that's great about it at the moment." Writer Mark McCrum remarked, "The tour was made all the more interesting by the fact that Robbie announced at the start his intention to leave drugs and drink behind forever. His attempt to stay clean while performing was the personal challenge that became the story of the book."
So Brian Hill directed the documentary Nobody Someday, which premiered in London, Kensington on the 1st of November 2001. And I was actually working around the corner at Olympia, which is right next to Kensington at that time. And I don't know why I didn't go to the premiere, because I can't remember now. I know that I woke up and it was like in the newspaper that he'd been there, and I can't remember whether I knew in advance and I just didn't go because I couldn't for some reason, or whether I woke up and thought, damn it, he was round the corner and I didn't know. And I've blurred in my head which one it is. I can't remember what it was, but all I know was he was around the corner. I didn't go and see him.
I'm sure you had a very important commitment that
Yeah.
you had to attend to or something.
Maybe. Around that time, I was working on the launch of The Grinch on DVD. So
There you go. You were probably hobnobbing with some celebrities from The Grinch or something at that point.
yeah. So it actually hit cinemas on the 4th of January 2002. And I went to Leicester Square with my friend Laura to watch it because it wasn't on in many cinemas. And I remember coming out feeling quite depressed, really, by the film.
Must have been. I mean,
yeah, because he was in such a state in the majority of that film, wasn't he? You know.
I mean, watching it now still makes me very sad. I wasn't around at the time, but I mean, he's in such a good place now, and still watching that movie is tough, and it's sad, and it really, really touches me. So going to see it, I don't know what you expected if you had a clue.
No, didn't have a clue. It was
because if you didn't have any clue and didn't know what you were going into, you must have been devastated when you left the cinema.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
We walked out a bit shell shocked. Yeah. Really, it was really shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can still remember the feeling. You know, we almost couldn't speak. We were so shocked as we walked out. It was really sad to watch it.
And it must have been.
I didn't see it in the cinema, but you played the DVD to me. I think I watched it at home, and I was like quite taken aback. I was like, oh my goodness me. Talk about a level of vulnerability and candidness about what was happening. I was quite shocked, actually. Yeah, would be the way to describe it, I think.
But it's, watching it back now, it's so much easier to watch it now, knowing that he's got through it and how much happier he is. But at the time, it's not something you would watch again and again because it's just too depressing.
Well, I think when I first watched it, it was like, this isn't going to end well.
Exactly.
If that's the inner sanctum, if that's what's happening, this isn't going to end well. And I think I felt for you at the time, really, because I thought, this just I can't see how this can continue and be a good news story.
Yeah.
But obviously it has been, so
actually, I did watch the movie recently, preparing for this. I haven't had time to read the book again. But I think the movie tried to end on a positive note. He starts to enjoy the gigs and he's...
Yeah.
Just watch a whole movie of a troubled human being.
Someone in a dark place is hard, isn't it?
So much. Yeah. So you think it can't be done just like that.
No. Yeah, I mean, the book sort of touches on a lot of the stuff that happens in the film. Yeah. So, once you've watched the film, it's very similar to the book.
Yeah, really. I know. But it's sometimes it's nice reading, to me anyway, instead of watching the movie. It was just time-wise,
Yeah, it takes a lot longer, doesn't it? Yeah. According to RobbieWilliams.com, their quote says, "It was obvious that Robbie was finding the added attention intrusive, but it was also the tour during which Robbie did most of his growing up. Show after show, somehow, despite his weary state of mind, Robbie managed to stick to his word and stay clean. As a result, he began to enjoy himself. By Rotterdam, he started to get job satisfaction and ended the tour on a positive note. Having faced his demons, remaining sober and clean, he resisted the temptation to fall back into his old ways to celebrate once the tour was over."
Yeah. The film captures the moment on the 21st of February 2001 when in Stuttgart, halfway through Supreme, a crazed man ran on stage and pushed Rob off 5 feet into the pit below. There was a big gasp from the crowd. The music came to a stop as the band realised what had happened. Manager David Enthoven ran to help, gave Rob his microphone back. Security helped him climb back onto the stage. Guy restarted the music, but Rob told him to cut it again. And he asked the crowd if they were okay. He said, "Well, so am I. And I'm not going to let any fucker get on stage and stop you having a good time." Rob stormed through the rest of the set without a break in an adrenaline-fueled state. He told everyone after the concert that he was okay.
But later on, he was filmed crying, saying he was actually very scared, kept thinking of Monica Seles being attacked on court, saying, "It's not just tonight I'm scared, it's a huge percentage of my days. I'm really, really scared." The police said the man claimed Rob was someone impersonating Robbie, and the real Robbie was somewhere else. David had thought Rob would stop the show. Old Robbie would have been furious and run away. This new Rob actually became this caring man that was much more concerned about everybody else not being upset. It was a turning point. The boy became a man. I was gobsmacked with pride, actually. I was in tears. Tour manager Frank C. pointed out that Rob was lucky he hadn't been pushed a bit harder and landed on the crowd barrier.
Yeah. Before the next gig, Rob said, "1 minute I'm on stage in the middle of a show that I was really bored doing. Then, next, I'm in the pit and there's this man jumping on top of me wanting to batter me. My first thought was, old me would have used that as an excuse to cancel the tour. But I'm feeling much healthier these days. I just wanted to go back on and finish the show. It gave me the impetus and the adrenaline to go back up and perform the best I'd ever performed in the last few numbers." But he later goes on to say that he's bored of touring, bored of singing the songs he hasn't got any great feeling for anymore. Right now, they're just a pile of shite. That's what he said.
Typical Rob, talking about his own music at that period. But that moment there was just the worst to watch in that film, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Horrendous.
And then it was tough watching the part when he goes through some of his songs. Strong, crap.
Yeah.
The next one, crap, shit.
Yeah.
It's just, you can't mean that.
I know. It's so sad, isn't it?
It's so sad.
He was so down on himself at that
Yes.
period, and it's a shame that he couldn't see how good he actually is and was.
Yes.
Exactly.
Couldn't see what everyone else saw, but no one can see that in themselves, can they?
No.
It's normal. But thank goodness, he did become clean, and that has definitely helped
Definitely.
to see the better side.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just going through so much at that time. Fear, paranoia, neurotic thoughts. I mean, just...
And just coming off drugs in general, wasn't it?
I don't think he had much balance at that point. So, obviously the brain's default state with when you're in that situation is to go to the negative all of the time and just think that everything's shit.
Yeah.
It reminds me of when he says, it's not shit. It wasn't shit. It wasn't noise.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, on TripAdvisor say it wasn't shit.
It wasn't shit.
Yeah.
Also, it showed on that tour, you can see it in the book and in the film, the next gig after Stuttgart in Paris, the Kabuki fails, which was the stage that the band were on that got lowered to the stage. So the band don't lower onto the stage. And Rob can see from his chair below that the band is stuck, but decides to go on anyway. However, Guy can't see Rob, so the music doesn't start. So Rob has just stood there like, oh, hang on a minute, what am I going to do now? So he walks off. And then Francie has to come on and tell the crowd, sorry, bit of a problem. And then eventually they get the stage to lower. But I think it was to the sound of like jazz music, like house sort of lift music.
Oh yeah, like Muzak type.
Yeah, because that was just what was playing when the house lights got turned on or something, and they needed the house lights on so that they could see what they were doing.
Sounds amusing.
Yeah,
probably scary for the band. But...
Oh yeah,
you can probably laugh at it afterwards, but being in it once, knowing that you have an audience and you want it to work, probably it must be an absolute nightmare.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, Guy said that he was terrified because he's scared of heights, and he didn't even want to get back on that kabuki thing afterwards. But they did have another gig after. There was a whole discussion in the book about whether it was safe and all this, and they were trying to persuade Guy that it's okay, you can't fall. But so Rob, when the band eventually get lowered onto the stage, he ran on and said, "So much for the big intro, folks. Let's rock." And he just gets on with the gig. So yeah, the end of that tour didn't go that well. Being pushed off stage and then that failing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, just before we wrap up this episode, make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out. And also, Lucy and I would really appreciate it if you can leave us a star rating. You can do this on both Apple and Spotify podcasts. We would also love it if you could write us a short review, and you can do this on Apple. Don't forget, you can check out our episode notes for each episode and links to all tracks and videos at robbiewilliamsrewind.com. You can also email us at email@robbiewilliamsrewind.com. Please also follow and chat on our social channels. It's at RewindRobbie on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. And you can also like and follow our Facebook page, Robbie Williams Rewind. And before we return to this episode, you might also consider sending us one of your own Robbie stories for the show. Just record a short audio clip on your phone and email it to us. Please check the website for more details. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
So shall we move on to weddings, bar mitzvahs and stadiums tour? So this tour had 14 shows and included 16 songs per show. It opened on the 30th of June at the Roskilde Festival in Denmark, then played 2 nights at Lansdowne Road, Dublin, 2 at Cardiff Arms Park, 3 at Milton Keynes Bowl, 3 at Manchester Old Trafford Cricket Ground, 2 at Glasgow Hampden Park, before ending with a night at Barmitzvahs Stadium in Cologne, which was televised. The Guardian said in July 2001, "It's a very British form of stardom, driven with irony and self-deprecation, but Williams is a remarkable performer, capable of projecting his persona across the vastness of a rugby ground. He can fill a stadium in every sense of the phrase." Very true, I think.
Really like that expression.
Yeah. And the Manchester Evening News in July 2001 said, "He is by turns self-deprecating and arrogant, telling us what a superstar he is, but at the same time debunking his own myth. Perhaps there is only one word for someone so charismatic and yet so contrary: genius."
Yes.
Yeah.
According to Feel, on the 21st of July 2001, Rob had changed his antidepressants and it had made him anxious. He said, "The anxiety of performing in front of this massive crowd at Milton Keynes, doubled with the anxiety that I was feeling because of the tablets, just sent me potty. And we came through on the tour bus and I looked out of the window and saw the crowd and thought, I'm not going out there." He was told it would cost him $1 million to cancel this time. So he did it and said it was one of the best shows he's ever given. And this was actually the concert that I went to at Milton Keynes that year. And I would have been absolutely gutted if he had cancelled it while I was like stood in the bowl waiting for him to come on. Can you imagine anything worse?
No.
While he travelled all that way and then suddenly, he's not coming on.
There would have been a riot, I think.
Yeah. So thank God he didn't cancel it, and he did do a great concert.
In Phil, Rob says that he hated this tour, that when he said in Nobody Someday that he loved it by the end of the tour, it was basically a lie. He enjoyed about 5% of it.
That's always the way, isn't it, with him?
Isn't it just? You never quite know whether you're getting the truth or not, do you?
No.
A lot of times I'd be on stage and I'd have a complete disrespect for my audience. I'd think, what have you lot come to see this cunt for? Lucy always gets me to say that word. During the final night in Cologne, he sung We Are the Champions, yes, which he had dropped from the set after the first night in Roskilde. He was obviously doing his usual thing of trying to shorten the set as the tour proceeded, but decided to include these, especially for TV in Cologne. Come on, Robbie, We Are the Champions. You can include it for us.
The set list for most of the tour included Let Me Entertain You, Old Before I Die, Better Man, Strong, Women, which is a song Robbie wrote, which his friend Ashley Hamilton later released in 2003. We'll get to that in a later episode. The Road to Mandalay, Forever Texas, No Regrets, merging into Kill You by Eminem, Supreme, Let Love Be Your Energy, Eternity, Kids, She's the One, Millennium, Angels, and Rock DJ. So the band on the summer tour was the same as the band for the Sermon on the Mount tour. And so my main memory of going to this concert on the 21st of July, I went with my friend Milena, who later was my bridesmaid at our wedding, as well as Laura, who I've been to a lot of the concerts with. We weren't that close to the stage. I found my photos. We're about 20 rows back or something. And we'd been stood in our position for a few hours, watching the support acts, etc. And then the support acts were Top Loader and ABC, by the way. And then not long before Robbie was due on, a drunk couple came along and the tall guy stood right in front of me, so I could no longer see. And my friend Milena, she's about 5'10" or something. She's quite tall. Anyway, she politely asked them to move and keep walking somewhere else. And this guy just laughed. So Milena grabbed hold of the collar of his shirt and literally picked him up and moved him to the side. And because his drunk girlfriend was hanging on to him as well, like she could barely stand, she just moved with him. And I think that they were so shocked that they didn't say anything, and the guy was more concerned about trying to save the rest of his pint that he had in his hand. And they just walked off and they went somewhere else. But that is my overriding memory of that
What a
concert.
great friend doing that for you.
But you know how annoying it is when you've been stood in a position for hours and suddenly someone decides that they're just going to stand in front of you?
Yeah.
No, that's not acceptable.
No.
Not happening.
So she wasn't going to have it. And I spoke to her about this a couple of weeks ago. And she said that the thing that made her angry was the fact that she could see that I wasn't going to say anything. And she was like, no, I'm not having that. I'm not having this man ruin Lucy's view. So she just saw red and decided to do something about it.
We all need a friend like Milena.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, so that is my memory. And then another memory is coming out of the concert and my American ex calling me on my mobile and it obviously being noisy. And he was like, where are you? And I said, I've just come out of seeing Robbie. And he said, oh, I forgot you were going to see that twat. So, yeah, we didn't last much longer than that.
No, no chance.
Yeah. But obviously the fact that has stayed with me, obviously, came out on a high, and then to come out and be said that to was like, no, you don't say that.
No.
So anyway. And obviously me and the American ex split up and then about 6 weeks later I met Matt and we got together. So much improvement.
No, much improvement. That's high praise indeed. Thank you.
That's a happy end.
Yes. Yeah, so Matt and I watched back the Cologne concert because that's on YouTube recently.
did.
So obviously that's
too.
the same as what I saw at Milton Keynes. That was a fun watch. What did you think of that, Christina?
Several things. Again, first, it's weird watching the old gigs because I wasn't part of it. And to me, Monsoon is on the set list, apart from Las Vegas and it's not there, and it's so wrong. Come on, Done, huh? So, but apart from that, it's actually a bit funny because, especially in the beginning, after I discovered Robbie Williams, watching the old gigs was this process where I always felt so sad because I could see how absolutely amazing it had been, and I wasn't there. And then I started going to the gigs and getting experiences. And the funny thing is that when I watch the gigs today, even the ones I've been to, I still get just this second of instant sadness because it's watching the video and those moments thinking, if it's this emotional, amazing, funny, whatever, watching on video, how must it be in real life? And then I realize sometimes that, but I was there, and I can go back and I can actually feel it, and that's just the most amazing thing. But this obviously was a tour I didn't go to, so I watched the Let Me Entertain You and think, okay, that's another song where I just have to excuse that I ever rated Rob as a random pop boy because I'm so wrong. Yeah. And then Let Love Be Your Energy is on the set list. And that, to me, that song has always felt a bit... I watched it on the Network video, and it in a weird way, it feels like, and it was the same with this tour when I watched the video, it's a time capsule in some weird way. I think it has an energy that I would absolutely love to experience myself. Yeah, and he actually played it in the opening gig in Spain on the Let Me Entertain You tour. And that was a highlight for me, getting Let Love Be Your Energy. Actually.
Did he only do it on the opening night?
Yes.
Oh, one of those where he decided to make the set list shorter.
Yes. And I've seen him saying the same thing more than once about that song. It takes so much energy. Playing it live.
Mm-hmm.
So I think radio was added instead of it. But no, anyway, that was... I enjoyed watching those videos. But again, I always get this, I wasn't there.
I know.
Mm-hmm. So many years before I even knew anything.
Yeah. You're missing out.
Yeah.
My main thoughts watching back that Cologne concert was how, like, he just flirted outrageously with people, like that girl on that bloke's shoulders.
Yeah,
that's right.
Are you on your boyfriend's shoulders? She said no. And so that was it. He took that opportunity, knowing that she wasn't on her boyfriend's shoulders, to just flirt with her.
Yeah, I'm staying at the Hyatt.
Yeah,
that's what he said.
And then asking girls in the crowd to get their breasts out.
Yeah, I noted that as well.
Yeah, I don't think he would dare to say that now. But one girl actually did get hers out, didn't she?
Yeah,
he did.
She did.
He thanked her for it.
Yeah. And then there's the camera take a photo at the same time.
Oh, yes.
That's always special seeing performed as well.
And everybody got their old-fashioned cameras out with the flash.
Yes. The wind on.
They weren't phones. The wind-on cameras.
Yes.
And all tried to do it at the same time.
And Rob's
it never ends up being the
reaction,
same time, does it?
It's just it's so good.
Yeah, that's a special moment. And he covered Limp Bizkit's Rolling, wearing the bucket hat and the dragon breathing smoke behind him.
Yeah.
I'd kind of forgotten about that.
Mm. Yeah.
But he did it very well, that cover, I thought.
Yeah.
Rolling.
Yeah, that one. So should we move on to Sing When You're Pacific Rimming?
Yeah, which is a great title for a tour.
I love the play on words that they do throughout Robbie's career. It's great. Opening on the 18th of October 2001, this 11-day arena tour was his first in Australasia. He played Hong Kong, Singapore and Taiwan before moving on to 5 dates in Australia and 3 in New Zealand. The set list was basically the same as the wedding, bar mitzvahs and stadium tour. In the Somebody Someday book, it's described how in Singapore, Rob's drawstring trousers ripped down and slipped down to his knees during a performance. The police aren't very happy at this breaking of their strict laws of public behaviour. David and Francie have to fend off gun-wielding officers while Josie and costume mistress Flo get Rob a new pair. When introducing... Brilliant. When introducing Forever Texas, Rob says, "This is a ditty about stripping. I know you're not allowed to do this in your country, so we'll all try to not strip tonight," to laughter from the crowd.
So Nicole Kidman watched him at his Sydney gig from the sound desk, with Rob going to her place in Sydney afterwards, sparking rumours of a romance due to something stupid coming out weeks after this tour. He also wore a kilt in Sydney. Rob played to 110,000 people in New Zealand. His manager, David, joked, "We've sold a record to everybody and his sheep." In Wellington, New Zealand, Robbie drew somewhere between 42,500 and 44,000 to the relatively new outdoor venue. The Dominion said, along with a repertoire of all his hits, he swore like a sailor, flashed his chest, and encouraged a bunch of the more brazen fans to do the same. He also apparently wore an all-black shirt and phoned his mum from the stage.
Oh,
That's nice.
I'm sure his mum was pleased with that. You're in front of a load of people. Well, he's done it before, though, hasn't he? With her?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'd love to hear from anyone that was in Australia or New Zealand who went to any of those concerts and tell us what they were like.
Australian fans and New Zealand fans,
Get in touch.
contact us.
Yeah.
Tell us your stories.
Maybe come on the podcast.
We can either feature them on the podcast. You don't have to come on and do an entire episode if you don't want to. You can always just tell a story and we'll include it.
It would be so good to hear from some of the Australians.
Yeah, it really would.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, just before we wrap up this episode, make sure you subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out. And also, Lucy and I would really appreciate it if you can leave us a star rating. You can do this on both Apple and Spotify podcasts. We would also love it if you could write us a short review, and you can do this on Apple. Don't forget, you can check out our episode notes for each episode and links to all tracks and videos at robbiewilliamsrewind.com. You can also email us at email@robbiewilliamsrewind.com. Please also follow and chat on our social channels. It's at RewindRobbie on Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. And you can also like and follow our Facebook page, Robbie Williams Rewind. And before we return to this episode, you might also consider sending us one of your own Robbie stories for the show. Just record a short audio clip on your phone and email it to us. Please check the website for more details. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams, and you're listening to Robbie Williams Rewind with the Champions.
So I think we've come to the end, so we need to pick a favourite song, don't we?
Yeah, we're going to each pick our favourite song from this episode, which will go onto our playlist, which you can find on robbiewilliamsrewind.com. Who would like to go first? Or
I
do you
can
want me to
actually
go
do
first?
this.
Okay,
Oh, right,
you go
Christina.
first then.
I think it's more challenging for the both of us.
It was actually easy. It was so
good.
It was so funny. For once, I can pick a favorite in some. There's no doubt it'll be "Come Take Me Over."
Okay, I thought you were going to say that.
Come take
Absolutely
me over.
no
Yeah.
doubt.
Great. Well, that's nice and easy.
Yeah.
There you go.
I still
I'm
haven't
curious
decided.
about yours.
Well, I was going to say it's fairly simple, but it's not fairly simple, because if I was to pick one by Robbie, and Guy, it would be Toxic.
Yeah,
I love Toxic.
yeah, Toxic is amazing.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant song. But then I feel a bit disingenuous because I feel as though I should be picking "We Are the Champions."
Yeah.
But I think if I go for Robbie, then it's Toxic, and I feel as though I'm not not being disingenuous by not picking We Are the Champions, because that's kind of always been part of my life. So
Yeah.
but if I could have two, it would be that one as well. But we can't have two. We've tried that before. It's not allowed. Anyway, Lucy,
Oh,
what
God.
is, now that I've filled for a little bit and given you some time, what might be your
Okay, I'm
favourite?
really struggling.
Go on,
I think
then,
you
give us
know
a
which
short
two
list.
that I'm struggling between.
Well, it'll be one of the Kylie songs.
Yeah, so Your Disco Needs You or Not of This Earth.
Yeah.
And it's really hard. Now, obviously, Kylie, it's not really a Robbie song in the true sense, is it? But he wrote it and he's very proud of it, and so is Guy.
And it has a special place in your life.
Yeah. But then Not of This Earth, it's just so incredible. I feel like it needs to be included, and I'm really struggling. I don't know what to do. Well, when I looked back at my favourite songs playlist that I created, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, I discovered that Your Disco Needs You wasn't on it.
Oh, dear.
Whereas Not of This Earth was. So I'm wondering whether that was a signal to say that Not of This Earth meant more to me than Your Disco Needs You.
Wow.
I didn't even know Robbie Williams 10 years ago.
Come on then, Lucy, what are you going to do? You gonna go with both, or do you want to say one? Up to you.
I'll go with both. That's cheating, though, isn't it?
Yeah, we don't want to set a precedent where our guests come on and think they can have two. you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's meant to be just one.
Well, I guess, if the rule was they have to be Robbie, then I have to pick Toxic,
Well, yeah.
and you have to pick
Not of
Yeah.
This
Not
Earth.
of This Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But we can possibly just add the other two on the playlist as well.
because they need to be heard.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank
As
you for
we said at
allowing
the
me.
beginning, yeah, it's our pleasure, and it's always so lovely to see your shining smile at
Oh,
gigs.
yeah.
When we see you, it's like, there's Christina, and
so much.
it's even more of a pleasure to stand with you and enjoy the gigs as
I
well.
really
So
enjoy your
it's a
company as
super
well.
pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Yeah.
And well done
Thank
for
you.
doing the podcast. I think it's an awesome thing.
Thank you, Christina.
Okay, so thanks for listening, everyone. Tune into the next episode when we will be talking about Robbie's first swing album, Swing When You're Winning, and his legendary Royal Albert Hall show. And that will be with our great friend, Kelly. Thank you,
We'll
Christina.
see you soon.
Thank
All
you too.
Thanks, Christina.
Thanks,
All right.
champion.
Bye.
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 Robbie Williams Rewind.